Hello everyone, I'm the Nerdy Fool and welcome back to Rogue Trader. Sorry it's been a while. Stuff was going on in life that seems to be basically resolved, so should be back to a more regular schedule. With the game though, I believe we are in this system because this is where Heinrich sent us. He had gotten a message over the astropathic choir that something was going on with a contact of his here. We arrived, the star is a little wonky, and there's some sort of battle going on near this planet. And we put off going into that because I was having issues with the game pausing at 100% after space battles. I think that's been resolved looking at patch notes. So I'm hopeful that we shouldn't have any issues. So let's head on into this battle and see how it goes.
Efforts will be for naught.
Okay, Drukari, makes sense. Block some of your flagship's posts. Yeah, they do that every time. Usually it's only like one person can't use their ability, which is fine. Solid misses. Bloodied Claw Cruiser. Well, that sounds fancy. So it looks like there are 3 enemy ships and we have 3 ships on our side. Ooh, and that doesn't immediately put up shields for the cloaking field. Ah, there it goes. Okay. I was wondering if that meant it didn't have one or something. So then the question is, do we try taking out some of these smaller ships? So we've got you way out here. You are not going to be part of this battle for a while. No, I think we have the 2 of us focused down on you. So your shadow field says we need to be within a 2-cell radius. If I went here, would I then be able to go there? Probably not, but maybe. Just thinking if I can get to a position where I can fire off the front attacks and then still be in a position to hit with a side weapon. Because this should be... Huh. 37% is not filling me with confidence. You would think that would be close enough that I'd get the bonuses. But it's still 37%, and surely our aim is good enough that that shouldn't be the case. Well, to start out with, let's do a vulnerability scan. See if we can find a weak spot on you. It is on this side. That is good. Yeah, the fact we have the same accuracy way out here, which is definitely not within the 2 square range, is really weird. Enemies suffer a minus 25% chance to hit when attacking from within a 2-cell radius and 75% when attacking from outside. And you're going to try and tell me that that is outside of 2 cells. I don't know about that. Okay. Well, whatever. I'm probably going to want to end up here, which means I can safely go to here first, looks like. And hopefully that counts as attacking this side. Yeah.
This one's going down.
Oh, did I at some point switch out my torpedo bays for some other kind of weapon? Because I no longer can send out the fighters. Something went wrong with my setup, clearly.
Lay in the course. Fire the large batteries.
Lots of misses because, of course, because we're at 37%. I don't know.
Leave their hulls strewn across the stars. Another salvo.
Well, we got a hit in. That's good. I guess that's all we can do. Yeah, I need to figure out how I got rid of my fighters, because I definitely want them. That's going to make this fight harder. Good hits there. Yikes. Alright, wanting to attack from this side. That's going to be hard to pull off. Yeah. We can't use this because you were the one that got locked down. That is a shame. I could try going here, and then warp jumping forward. That would get me alongside. But I wouldn't be able to use either of these. Well, wouldn't be able to use my main gun. If I pointed that way, you are still barely outside of it. I think I'm gonna just not be able to hit you with my main gun. I just need to be slightly more to the right without turning. Okay. We'll go there and then jump forward.
Onward!
I can't. Because of course not. There we go. Front of them is facing us. It's not what I wanted, but I can still at least get a shot off.
This one's going down.
Hey, including a hit. Nice. Got a huge range that way, but can't do anything. Yeah, unproductive turn for us. The Heartless should finish them off, though. you're taking a beating. Okay, I was like, are you shooting me? No, you just decided to attack them. Almost not quite killed. 8 health left. Hopefully your interceptors can handle that. No, just took some attacks onto the shield. Let's... If I went there, are you within range? You could be. Mainly, if I'm gonna finish you off, I'd rather not be pointing that direction. I'll just use this gun from here. You are outside the range. Okay, step forward one. Then we've got you.
Fire the lance battery.
There we go. Where are these ships? We've got you here. Where is the other one? Way over there. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I think we turn around here. Then we leap forward. What's the difference between these two? 84 to 98. $45 to $55. Okay, you are without doubt the better choice.
This one's going down.
Good hit. Not quite a kill. I can get you within that firing arc. Then we are facing very much the wrong direction. Still feels better to make the attack, even if I'm not pointing where I want to be. Ah, nope. Okay. I need you to just finish them off because they are too far away for me to get to in any sort of timely manner. Good. You are putting yourself kind of between the two of us, which is gonna get you killed. Thank you. Why are you turning that way? There's nothing over there.
The hull strewn across the stars.
Alright, there we go. Nice and simple. That'll rank us up. Perfect. Bit of scrap, bit of trophies. keep on thinking about grabbing that one. The ability to fire without moving and then reload. And then we could fire again. Probably something to boost our shields. We're getting to the point where they are tearing down our shields often enough. I think that is something to consider. Now let's quickly do a repair. Okay, so those are 2 prow weapons. Must have gotten this one recently. And replaced... because we still have the interceptors. Did I get rid of some sort of torpedo bay so that we don't actually have anything to launch those? That's my guess. Yeah, they go into the prow. Torpedo. Let's... 4 for 19 damage, 4 for 19, 5 with 19. 4 for 19. 5 19. I don't necessarily know the differences, but we'll keep the really good weapon and the torpedo tube, which should allow us to send out the interceptors again. Upgrade you, and upgrade the ram a little. Perfect. Oh, we're getting pretty close to level 10 as well. Nice. That's that battle taken care of. Let's see what's going on the planet. Because this is presumably where Heinrich's friend or colleague is located, at this excavation site. I mean, it's an inquisitorial quest, so we're definitely taking Heinrich's, of course. We'll need to level him up. Part of me thinks we shouldn't bring a Xeno with us when we're dealing with the Ordo Xenos, but also Drukari we're attacking, so having an Eldar with us could be good. Yeah, I think we're just going to go with that team. It's a fairly standard team for us. Alright, Heinrichs, we got to give you 4 levels. Anything selected? I have selected a bunch for you. Nice. %, armor if you haven't attacked. Charge and slash don't affect it. Ooh. So it's just to be used as basic attack. If he charges into an enemy, he still gets the 20% bonus. more damage when charging long distance. That happens often enough. These are a lot of good ones, actually. Increased damage, I think that's fine. And then as for your skills, you've been mainly carouse and athletics, which seems fine. We'll boost your carouse because it's the lower of the two. Same options. We've grabbed all three of those. So what else is good? We don't use damaging psychic powers much. Or long-range psychic powers. More resolve is always decent. So, if an enemy is adjacent to an ally, dies, the ally gets this corpus conversion effect. And then if he targets that ally, his psi rating is higher. So if he uses one of his psychic abilities, like his healing or whatever, on an ally who is next to an enemy who is just, or who was next to an enemy who just died. That's a lot that has to be set up just to get a +2 psychic bonus. And not even on an attack, but just on a aiding your ally. I don't know about that. Bonus to strength based on temporary wounds could be good. Yeah, I don't know. None of these seem critical. Alright, we can't boost your weapon skills, so probably willpower? We could boost your strength to get it to higher number. Willpower's fine. Okay, so we are on this planet because Heinrichs has heard from a contact that something's going down. We know there are Drukhari around.
Identify Captain Sargon's blasphemous attempt to combine creations of the Adeptus Mechanicus with xenotech as effective, and thus that much more egregious.
Okay. What's our formation looking like? We want Heinrichs up front. Pascal can be in the second row. The vanquished aircraft obviously fell from a height. Too much time has passed now to determine the cause of the crash. Well, there are a bunch of machines on fire, which is not ideal. Powerful smell of promethium lingers in the air around the burning mechanism. The machines were doused with the accelerant and set alight.
Victory awaits!
So not just that they had promethium in them and caught, they were intentionally set on fire. The spikes have been fashioned from whatever their creators had at hand. This pitiful barricade is unlikely to stop anyone who is determined to get through. Okay. So, attempting to barricade poorly. Diggers, overseers. Sentry rubs her eyes and gawps at you. One half of her face is covered with a bulky, rusty augment of unknown purpose. You came to rescue us. Praise the God Emperor. It reached you. The sorcerer's message reached others like him. May he rest in peace. Sorcerer. Not astropath. Questioning. We are most honored by your presence. Please, come forward, quickly, out of the darkness. The woman hurriedly checks a nearby lumen, her hands visibly shaking. Those creatures come from the dark, you see, but not for much longer, not for much longer. Now you're here, and Mistress Lichtenhart has already found a way to help us. Heinrich dourly listens to the sentry's speech. He takes a few steps forward and intently peers at her face as the woman herself freezes in fear. Then Heinrich scowls and cuts a glance at you. We need to hurry. Let's examine the sentry's face. We failed on a 95. Of course we did. Rolled a 96. The woman lurches backwards under your scrutiny. Her eyes are red and swollen, and there are dark circles under them, suggesting a long run of sleepless nights. Something warpy's going on. We don't know what. With stroke of luck, it seems we've already found who we are looking for. What's happened on the planet? Survey the barricades. They do not appear very sturdy. Yeah, Emelina Lichtenhart is who we're looking for. I refuse to find my own way there. You there, escort me to Emelina. What's happening on the planet? It's terrible, my lord. I don't even know how to describe it. It's been, what? How long has it been? A few months, probably? A few months of being plagued by the sorcerous beasts. As soon as night fell, they came, creeping right out of the shadows, black and soot. There's no stopping them. The only thing that's worked so far is keeping the fires burning and maintaining a constant watch. And even with that, the creatures drag us off in ones and twos the second we drop our guard. Heinrich furrows his brow. Sorcerous creatures from the shadows? Could they be demons? That would explain the presence of warp anomalies in the system. A local breach? I'm guessing Drakari. There were Drakari ships that we fought in orbit. And we know that they can be stealthy. I don't know if I'd call them sorceress, but some of them have to have some connection to the warp, the Imperium. Maybe they don't. Because Eldari don't interact much with the warp. They go through the webway, which is different. Do they have psykers? I don't know. They have to. Probably. I don't know. Survey the barricades. They do not appear to be very sturdy. Please, my lord. The sentry is on the verge of tears. Do you think we are trained guardsmen? We're from the expedition convoy. We've lived here for generations, and up to now, the God Emperor has guarded us from misfortune. But now we have to fight. Survivors have all gathered in the tunnel. We've handed out what weapons we have, but how is that supposed to help us against these butchers when we don't always know how to use our weapons? You mentioned an expedition. Yes, about 30 years back, we were brought here with a load of clever people from some high-up adeptus of something or other, and we've lived here ever since. I've raised 4 kids here. 2 died at the excavations. 1 was taken by the monsters. My youngest is still alive. Excavations. Perhaps the expedition or rather, its objectives, were what Emelina was interested in. Of course, the easiest option would be to ask her directly. The interrogator shoots you a pointed, impatient look. Athari are some of the most powerful psykers. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. So that's my guess of when they're talking about sorcerers in the night. Feels like that would be the Drukhari. I just remember that when we were on their home city area, it was a big deal that they brought seers, like children of Asaurian seers, into there, because it's bad to have that much warp connection in the middle of the webway or something. So then that made me question, do they not have their own seers, psykers, whatever? I don't know. I've been away from the game for a couple of weeks, and now my brain is questioning what I thought I knew about 40k. Well, what a stroke of luck. It seems we've already found who we're looking for. You minion Mistress Lichtenhart, my lord. We wouldn't have survived without her. It just so happened that she was here at a local excavation when the monsters started appearing. We've been losing contact with the other sites on the planet since then, like candles being snuffed out one after another. The rest of them must have all perished, but we're still here, holding on. Alright, I wish to see Emelina Lichtenhart. Mistress Lichtenhart is inside, in the pit. You go on, don't be afraid. She will be there to properly greet you. We'll stand guard. Thanks be to the Emperor for delivering you to us.
A new challenge for
Before I
me?
head in, Pascal, please open this for me.
My success is an irrefutable certainty.
A giant gate barring the way to the excavation site. Alright, let's head in. That chill, where's it coming from? The creatures, they're coming. Weapons ready. God Emperor, preserve us.
Smite the xenos!
Alright. Mandrake. Xenos of some variety. Sharpened venom blades. Bale Blast launches a fire blast, dealing fire damage and inflicting burning for 2 rounds unless the target passes a toughness resistance test with a -30 penalty. Burning Touch of the Warp, a favorite of mine. They take additional warp damage from psychic powers. Well, you guys are going to be dead soon. But yes, they appear to be Drukhari, as expected. We've been ambushed, so we can't organize ourselves. Where is Ignatius?
I am a navigator, not a servitor.
We'll do the usual.
I'm not accustomed to being ordered around.
Not a problem for me.
I guess I should have done Orchestrate Flames on myself as well. And then I can still attack some of them. It looks like a pretty fun line to attack. Yeah. Barely missing that guy. Perfect.
Nothing I can't do. Hurting me was your biggest mistake.
Alright. I could give myself another attack this turn. But I think I'd rather end my turn and let Cassia give me a full extra turn. What? There we go. Like, what is going on here where those are showing up? Finest hour on
I'll show
me.
you why navigators are feared.
need to move a little. I can get both of them.
I shall not fear. Nothing of value has been lost.
Ignite on you. Not quite a kill.
Is a reward.
You survived at 2 hit points. Well, that's not ideal. No, I don't want to hit my allies. So I think we're going to have to go with using a lot of ignites, which won't guarantee one-shot kill. Maybe I can get into a better position. No. No, because the blast comes from me. There's no way for me to kill 2 of my allies to kill both of them. No. No. So yeah, no guarantee that we will kill them in a single hit, which means they might also shoot at my allies.
Already done.
Not thrilled by that.
Opposing me was your biggest mistake. Not a problem for me. You didn't stand a chance.
Perfect. And lastly,
Nothing
you.
I can't do.
There we go. Wait, hang on. Oh, I didn't even see you down there. Can I melt a you without hitting any friendlies? Yes. There we go. I don't need a basic sword. Alright, how are you guys feeling now? Thanks be to the God Emperor, he hasn't forgotten us. He hasn't. He is not. Yeah, but definitely Drukhari, not some strange demons of the warp. You come to take us away from this place? You're here to save us, aren't you?
None shall stand
maybe.
in my way.
Boarded up passage. What is going on in there? Whatever it is, it does not look okay. Part of me wants to see what else is going on before we go to the obvious warpy stuff going on. But it's right here.
Nothing's impossible for this old officer.
Oh, you shouldn't have, my lord. I mean, there's weird warpy stuff going on. I'm gonna check it out. Who's there?
Damn it! It's a Vox liturgy twisted by warp sorcery. Try not to listen too closely.
I cannot make out a single word, but the taint that hangs with these sounds in the air is almost palpable.
This altar would be unremarkable if not for the uncanny sounds streaming from its built-in speakers. Once was a Vox recording of a liturgical service, is now a malevolent parody of the noble faith. And we can't destroy it or burn it or anything? Alright. Well, someone is creating warp heresy here that we're gonna have to deal with. Why is our lore warp so bad? Everyone else in the party gets like 100% on every test. But we're the lore warp person and we get 65s.
I did fine.
Okay, we succeeded anyway. Strange debris scattered across the table's surface. Your attention is drawn to the whimsical patterns on the broken pottery and tablets. But when you try to take a closer look, the world starts to swim before your eyes. Okay, so chaos symbols probably.
The machine god grants me insight.
Instigator's Mantle. Taunting Scream targets do not need to fail the willpower resistance test to be affected by this ability. Swift Shroud Cloak. Whenever the wearer is targeted by an attack of opportunity, they gain a +1 stack of the Swift Shroud effect and plus 32% dodge against this attack. Also, the wearer gains +8 movement points every time they are targeted by an attack of opportunity. At the end of their turn, the wearer expends all their Swift Shroud stacks to grant all allies plus 0% dodge until the wearer's next turn. Let's see what that looks like for other characters' stats. All the same on you. +1 MP is not impressive. What's that 0%? Because so far everyone has had 0 there. Oh. 5 times Swift Shroud stacks. Alright. So for you, dodge is 16 and 4 movement. 6 and 1 movement. 8 and 2 movement. 32 and 8 movement. Looks like we're getting basically the best effect from it. Oddly enough. But I'm guessing we've got a cloak that's already pretty cool. Yeah. Every kill increases critical hit chance. That seems pretty nice. What are you wearing? Use Endure, immediately remove burning, toxin, or bleeding. I'll give it to you. I don't know that anyone is using Taunting Scream.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Conveyor belt littered with a mixture of stone chippings and fragments of human-made items. The rust on the mechanical components indicates this machine has stood idle for a very long time. Probably not a great sign. If your digging expedition has not been digging. Powerful smell of promethium lingers in the air around the burning mechanism. The machines were doused with the accelerant and set alight. Yeah, burning all of your machines. I recognize you feel the need for fire. To see into the darkness. But it feels like something really wrong is going on. Boxes stuffed full of shards of pottery, metal, and other discarded human-made objects covered in a layer of soil. Some more goods. Modified crack grenades. That's pretty powerful. If we actually used grenades ever. Primitive excavating equipment suitable for use by unskilled workers.
Victory awaits.
Emilinas who were needing to go see. Can I get anywhere else first? No. Because that looks like an elevator. That would take us farther down. The well goes so deep you cannot see the bottom. The walls of the shaft reveal the marks of the machinery that drilled through the rock, as well as fragments of an ancient sunken city. Okay, so you're exploring some sort of ancient city and finding weird writing on pottery and other things as you're digging down. And that has apparently led to some amount of culty chaos stuff. Symbols on the skin must bleed again. Hold him tighter. God, Emperor, help me. Think you've stepped too far. The stooped figure draws back the hood of the grimy robe, revealing the emaciated face of a woman. Her skin is stretched taut over her skull in sickeningly protruding augmentations, and her cheek is marred with several open wounds. She looks at you with a feverish gleam in her eyes. Visual description matches Interrogator Van Kalox. The sage blinks several times and her head twitches. You made it here after all. Heinrich's usual mask of stoicism has melted away without a trace. He stares around him in undisguised dismay. Emilina? What is this? You're performing the archenemy's rituals. But no, stop, right now. Not another move unless I tell you. The sage draws herself upright, as far as her crooked spine will allow, and flicks several switches of her facial augments. Then she turns to you, ignoring Heinrich's words completely. Who have you brought with you, Interrogator von Kallax? Clearance level. Ignatius von Valencius, rogue trader and the God Emperor's anointed. My name is Ignatius von Valencius. I agreed to help you at Heinrich's request. I did not hear you introduce yourself, so I see no need to offer my name first. Ignatius von Valencius, rogue trader and the God Emperor's anointed. Emelina Lichtenhart dips her head. Von Valencius, a rogue trader dynasty, territory to the galactic west of Furibundus. The head of the dynasty, Theodora von Valencius, has been flagged for her heretical sentiments. Threat level. Heinrich gestures at the room. I brought the help you requested in your message, Emelina. A void ship under the aegis of the rogue trader. I dragged thousands of people and megatons of plasteel and ceramite through the bowels of the warp, and for what? To discover that you've sold yourself to the archenemy? Emelina shakes her head. You are drawing conclusions based on incomplete knowledge of the situation, Interrogator von Kallax. Your judgment is impaired. Heinrich, why is Emelina addressing you in this strange manner? What's happened to Phaeton 4? Chapel with the demented Voxcast. What's going on there? That's what I want to know. Heard enough. I will not tolerate this heresy near me. I say as I've got plenty of heresy in my retinue, including an actual xenos at the moment. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt for the moment. Why is Emelina addressing you in this strange manner? I expect that Emelina has chosen to steal the memory block containing data of a personal nature. She does this whenever she is concerned that someone might try to extract information about Calcazar's coterie from her. Heinrich thinks for a moment, then in a clear voice says, Sigma Prosperity. He pauses before repeating the strange phrase. The reminiscence block you are attempting to access was repurposed. It now contains knowledge of the rituals performed by the shamans of this place. My standard working memory alone was insufficient to record all the nuances I uncovered in my research here. Isn't that, from what I vaguely remember Heinrich saying, she has like a photographic memory that is incredibly deep so that she can store insane amounts of data. So the fact that she threw away some important part of her how she normally functions just to store ritual information feels like another flag against her. Heinrich looks as though he's been punched in the gut. Emelina, you deleted the data about all the members of Calcazar's unit? You wiped us all? Of course not. I retained the portions of the reminiscence block's data relating to the operational significance of the Lord Inquisitor's unit. That is how I was able to recognize you, Interrogator von Kallax. What has happened on Phaeton 4? I came here on the supreme directive of Lord Inquisitor. An Adeptus Historica mission was established on Phaeton 4 to study the origins of the civilization that once inhabited this planet. This world was once settled by humans. The mission aimed to discover which colony ship they came from and why they disappeared. The traces of the ancient culture uncovered in the layers of soil suggested the existence of primitive solar faiths among the dark inhabitants of this world, faiths that are strikingly similar to the worship of the archenemy. The surviving scrolls indicate that shamans used the gifts of chaos to protect their people, to secure the harvest, to imbue their warriors with strength and vitality, and that this culture persisted for thousands of years. I was cataloging data when the attacks began at one of the remote outposts. I immediately recognized the enemy by their tactics, Drukhari. They chose an unremarkable, defenseless world where night lasts half the year. By the time 5 outposts had been swallowed by the darkness, the last astropath had been torn to pieces, and many calls for help sent to Calcazar's unit had gone unanswered. I realized that no one was going to save these people, or this knowledge, so I put the knowledge to use for the good of humanity. Right, so you recognized these people were worshipping the archenemy. Shamans used the gift of chaos to protect the people. And when you were in danger, you used the same rituals and gifts of chaos. Heinrich, make sense of this for me. Am I going mad, or is your colleague engaging in flagrant heresy here? Emelina is operating under the assumption that any and all methods are acceptable in the war against the enemies of humanity. Her reasoning is not infallible. However, it does contain a grain of truth. If I am to form an assessment of your actions, I must know the purpose of the ritual we interrupted when we arrived. Answer me. Emelina lifts her gaze upward. It will rid this world of its half-year-long night and the mandrakes of their total advantage over us. It will force a new heavenly body, this one of human making, to rise above the horizon and illuminate the dark side of the planet. If the ritual works, I will have mastered the secret of forging a new sun. Very important, since stars keep getting stolen. If we had means to create new ones, that would help some of our star systems. But using chaos rituals to do it is probably not right. This is madness. Madness, pride, and monstrous, staggering heresy. Heinrich's voice is barely audible, as if his throat has closed up in shock. Abelard's eyes widen in astonishment. Create a star? God Emperor's grace, what creatures could live in the light of a star born using the powers of the archenemy? You mean you discovered a ritual for creating a sun here? What happened to the people of this world? I know a few places in the Koronus Expanse that can do with a new sun. That is very true. Do you mean to say that you discovered a ritual for creating a sun here? Buried under silica and granite are knowledge and resources that could repel the enemies of humanity. We are too afraid of anything labeled prohibited. My memory contains thousands upon thousands of pages from manuscripts, tomes, and scrolls. Contact with any one of these is supposed to guarantee instant death, but the creatures who claim this are liars. I am living proof of their falsehoods. What happened to the people of this world? All the survivors are here in the tunnel. The rest are dead, or worse than dead. They are in the clutches of the monsters from Komora. Our last astropath died when his mind was invaded by a warp entity. It used his psi trail to hunt him down. The rest of the people here have been blessed with the protection of those forces that I summoned to our aid. That is enough. Hunter's voice shakes with bridled fury. I've heard all the justifications and complaints 100 times before. No purpose can justify what you have wrought here. Who you have become. Who I have become, Interrogator Van Calix? I am what any agent of the Golden Throne is predestined to become, if they are able to see through the essence of things. I have, as the Puritans say, succumbed to the heresy of radicalization. Moreover, in doing so, I am only following in the footsteps of our mentor. The only difference is that I've chosen the path of the ablationist when he chose the xenos hybris, forging an alliance with the cursed Drukhari. Emelina, suppress your urge to debate internal matters in the presence of the rogue traitor. Additionally, I will not tolerate insults to the Lord Inquisitor in my presence. Yeah, I don't know these terms either, but I do know it's pretty common for members of the Inquisition, when they stay in it long enough, eventually they get deeper and deeper into the various heretical teachings, like learning from them, that they almost always eventually cross that line of doing heretical things for the greater good and for the good of the people, and eventually often have to get hunted down by other members of the Inquisition because they've gone too far. So what she's going through is a common path that you hear about all the time in 40k lore. No, you've already started, so you may as well continue the conversation. Xenos Hybris, Ablationists, I have no idea what these things are, or listen in silence. Part of me wonders if I use the direct question of tell me about these things, if they might say you're not supposed to know and then clam up. Or if I just say continue the conversation, maybe they'll be more willing to be open about it. Or maybe if I directly ask, they'll be more willing to answer those specific questions rather than just being more vague. I don't know which direction the conversation could go. Xenos hybris, oblationists, I have no idea what these things are. They're names given to philosophical ideologies practiced by agents of the Golden Throne. They have nothing to do with the current actions are being driven by this philosophy, Interrogator Van Calax. Mine, yours, the Lord Inquisitors? Why are you avoiding talking about the fact that Xavier Calcazar is a dangerous radical? No less dangerous than I am. Except I am not driven by utopian ideals, but by a desire to protect humanity, using a broader range of tools. So there are various ideologies for those who are stepping into more heretical side of the Inquisition. Which isn't terribly surprising, because Calcazar was totally fine with us doing heretical things as long as we aided him in his mission. So it's not super surprising that he might also be doing heretical things himself. What you call broader range of tools is heresy, Emelina. A remarkable, commonplace heresy. Heresy that has taken on a twisted form in a mind subjected to prolonged contact with corruption. The archenemy has been gnawing at you from within, creating a star with a chaos ritual. You have crossed the line. No, you have obliterated the line. The line? Lines are for the weak and ignorant. Anyone capable of weighing the risks and making a calculated decision would have done the same as me. To protect the Imperium's domain, to deliver a preemptive strike, even Von Valencius. Emelina whips around to you. You are a simple mortal endowed with huge power and privilege, ruling over worlds and holding millions of lives in the palm of your hand. Tell me, what would you have done would you have done the same in my position? Yes, fear and cowardice are the worst enemies of the Imperium's defenders, or I would not have made the same mistake. While we have done some heretical things, I guess I don't know enough about the ritual. Depending on what it involves, maybe, maybe not. Like if it's vast swaths of human sacrifice, then no. Like, will I side with evil Xenos? Because siding with Xenos or having an unsanctioned psyker are kind of my two vices at the moment. And no, I won't side with evil Xenos, but people who generally are working towards the good of humanity, I haven't had an issue with. That's kind of where I draw the line. So it's like, is this overall helping humanity? And I don't know enough about it. They've been too vague of what the ritual entails. Probably should have asked about the chapel over there. Now it feels like I'm missing some information I could have used at this moment. But no, I don't think chaos rituals, particularly as a sanctioned psyker and what we would have had to go through for the sanctioning process, intentionally opening ourselves up to chaos energies and chaos rituals, is not a direction I see myself going. I would not have made the same mistake. Blinkered vision and narrow-minded. A warrant of trade in the hands of such a person is a dangerous prospect indeed. Emelina shakes her head spitefully, her eyes filling with blood. That's probably not good. The only one to answer my call, and you turn out to be a brainwashed pawn. I did not factor in the possibility of psychological dependence. Calcazar can be persuasive, especially to those who depend on him. A favored sorcerer, a Casabalican renegade, oh yes, Interrogator Van Calax, Xavier Calcazar's stalwart little soldier. You will die just like Tanakia. I don't think we know that name. Emelina Iona Lichtenhart. Heinrich begins stiffly formal before breaking off. Tanakia? What do you know about Tanakia? Emelina shakes her head. You don't even know what fate befell her, do you? I suppose it won't hurt for you to know something of it. A strange sound causes the sage to fall silent. She turns towards the tunnel. Lights are going out. They're coming out of the mine. They're here. The ritual must be completed. The preparations must not go to... What? Enough.
Do you dare to look me in the eye?
Let's see. We need to block all possible approaches. Light. We need light to dispel the shadows in the corners. Yeah, so we're in a cave right now. So even if she had made a new sun, it wouldn't have given light in a cave. They'd still be just as defenseless. Okay, so we've got locations we need to get to. Turn on a lamp there, turn on a lamp here. Interesting. So this isn't just kill all the enemies. Well, for now, I think we will put Cassia and ourself up here where we can see most of the battle. Abelard, I'll put you over here next to this lamp. Heinrichs, I think I'll send you towards this ramp. Or do I send you towards this one because you're pretty close, and Pascal can make it to this lamp? That might be the call. So we'll put Heinrichs here. So we've got, I think, just those 3 lamps we're looking at. And then Irliet. Any good cover position? This is probably fine. We don't have anyone focused on taking all of them out, which could be a problem. I might have to have Ignatius start on them. Or maybe Pascal can turn on the light and then rush over there. He is good at taking out groups. We'll see. As usual, boost Ignatius.
Isn't this a job for the serfs?
Alright. Light ourselves on fire.
Too easy.
Orchestrate flames.
Nothing I can't do.
Run and gun. We got 2 enemies there. No enemies here so far. And then the 4 over here. I think working on these guys is the more important. If I was here... Oh, I don't have a melt available. Never mind. All that good enough. Back to Cassia. What can you do just to push us slightly over that edge? Yes, let's go here for front line.
Me? If you insist,
I
Lord
forgot to
Captain.
set these up before. Back line.
Isn't this a job for the serfs?
And rear. Give to you. There we go. Got a momentum going. That's what I was looking for. Finest hour. On Ignatius.
I'll paint your death in colors.
I could go here and melt the two of you.
Not a problem for me. Nothing of value has been lost.
Ignite
Nothing
you.
I can't. You don't stand a chance.
Run and gun. Can I get to a position where I can see these guys? The answer is probably no. Yeah. Nope, I wasn't trying to click on you. If I went here, any better chance? No. I do have dash. Okay. So we go here. Then dash to here.
Never wavered in the face of adversity.
Can't hit both. That's fine.
Suits my purpose. Nothing of value has been lost. All too easy. Opposing me with
Okay,
your
I think that's all enemies dead now. So, I guess end our turn. End your turn. End your turn as well. Now it's to us. I'm gonna go more central, just so I'm better able to deal with whatever happens. Wow, I can actually move to get most of these lamps by myself. Huh. I can't quite reach this one. Probably could with the dash. Alright, we're going for it. That is a lot of movement. Okay, that did count as us being able to light that lamp. Perfect. And we'll dash away a little bit. I guess call that good enough for our turn. Heinrich, you just come up front and guard.
The Emperor is on our side.
No turning on this lamp, oddly. Just set you up with a warp speed, iron arm.
But of course, Lord Captain. Let's see.
Your
Natural.
sword of the Emperor. And
I
shield of
won't
the Emperor.
object to it.
I think that's probably good enough for the moment. Alright, Abelard, please turn that light on. Thank you. And you can hold position over here.
I've seen worse battles than this in my time.
Pascal, turn on that lamp. I'm hoping that's everything we needed to do. There are other hidden lamps somewhere. I don't know. Why can you not go in that square? Odd. Okay, we succeeded. Emelina lets out an agonized moan. Wasted all my work, all my preparation, all for nothing. Yeah, a sun isn't going to help you in a cave. I'm sorry, but you're dumb. Emelina Iona Lichtenhart. In the name of the Inquisition, you are hereby removed from your post and expelled from the Holy Ordo. Heinrich's eyes are fixed on Emelina, but she does not look at him. Then the interrogator turns his gaze on you. The fate of its fallen members is a matter for the Ordo. Heretical archives, artifacts obtained in the excavation, and other assets in Lichtenhart's possession I hereby declare are the property of the Holy Inquisition. However, it is for the rogue trader to decide what becomes of Phaeton 4 and its people. What is your verdict? What would you advise me to do? What will happen to her? I'll take the survivors off the planet. Not a bad call. I will not risk taking the survivors into my crew, however, I will not leave them unaided. I'll give supplies and support for their defense against the Drukhari. I do not care about the survivors. Rough. What will happen to the archives in Emelina? The archives will be sealed and transported to your ship as official property of the Inquisition for further study and appraisal. Emelina is my responsibility. What would you advise me do, Heinrichs? This world has been compromised. Any attempt to assess the degree of corruption will necessarily be based on weak judgment, vulnerable to doubt and sentiment. I would get rid of the planet and its population. Yikes. I mean, that is the inquisitorial way. There's an unknown level of heresy and corruption spreading on the planet. To intentionally allow that onto your ship is to allow heresy to spread on your ship. Almost guaranteed. Same with the planet. I don't know if it's at the point where we need to do Exterminatus or something, if that's what he's claiming. Yeah. I kind of agree with him. Intentionally letting people that we know were being taught heretical rituals onto our ship is a bad call. So I will not risk taking the survivors into my crew, however, I will not leave them unaided. They will be given supplies and support for their defense against the Drukhari. I think that's a fair middle ground. So be it, Lord Captain. Now as for Emelina. You are hereby stripped of your special status as an agent of the Golden Throne, and all attendant rights and privileges. I am authorized to use all interrogation measures stipulated in the standard framework for information extraction to ascertain the fate of Acolyte Tanakia Kalbergaria. Will that be necessary, Emelina? No, Interrogator Van Calyx. Sage's voice is scarcely louder than a whisper. I have no intention of concealing that information from you. I'm also almost certain that Tanakia Kalbergaria was eliminated on the orders of Xavier Calcazar after being deemed a volatile element. Heinrich's face is a mask of disbelief and anger. You're lying. So whoever this Tanakia is someone important to Heinrichs, personally. Listen in silence, or I have a rather unpleasant suspicion that the witnesses to this conversation are also at risk of being eliminated at a later date. I mean, maybe. But I do also want to hear it. And obviously, he's not going to eliminate me. Or any of my retinue. And we don't really care about the people on the ground, since we're leaving them to fend for themselves. Listen in silence. I saw one of Calcazar's documents when I went to receive my new orders. Only a fleeting glimpse, but with my memory like a pick recorder, it was long enough for its contents to be imprinted on my mind. I do not know the details, but the document itself was an interrogation transcript, with a final annotation indicating the removal of the person from the retinue. And we both know how someone leaves the Lord Inquisitor's retinue, Interrogator Von Calyx. Tanakia is the Lord Inquisitor's top espionage specialist. However, Xavier chose to refrain from making a public show of strength. Kalbergaria was invaluable. Why would he do this? Emelina looks at Heinrichs, her eyes full of despair. I do not know, Interrogator Von Calix, just as I do not know why the Lord Inquisitor sent me to this nondescript planet as soon as I voiced my concerns about his methods, just as I do not know if I should blame the warp for the lack of responses to my calls for help, or if Calcazar prohibited the others from answering. The nature of her mission, and of Xavier's true purpose here in the Expanse, was likely why he chose to bury this secret, and Tanakia along with it. Emelina breaks off. The operational data indicates that you are the retinue's primary torture specialist, Interrogator Von Calix. All this time, I thought you were the one who conducted Tanakia's interrogation, and one of the reasons why I destroyed my personal data block was to ensure my own sentiments would not prevent me from thinking rationally when I next encountered you or Calcazar's other servants. Interesting. So she thinks that the interrogator, Calcazar, is doing something shady. Yeah, she thinks he's doing something shady, which is why she was sent here. And assumed that Heinrichs was in on whatever Calcazar is doing. But it seems like Heinrichs has a strong connection to this Tanakia, which means it's unlikely that he would have been... It's probably the reason he wasn't the one chosen to do the interrogation, is that would have forced him to decide loyalties that could be questionable. And so she destroyed her personal block so that she could respond the best way she could rather than just responding based on programmed protocols. Which is reasonable. Heinrichs? Heinrich says nothing for several seconds, staring into space. At last he begins to speak. Emelina Iona Lichtenhart. Your knowledge is of particular interest to the Inquisition. Before your fate is decided, I will carry out the necessary procedures to extract the information from you. You can assist by providing access to your reminiscence blocks. However, unsealing the inaccessible blocks will require greater force. In other words, you're going to torture her to death. First she corrupts her mind with this knowledge, and now you are planning to do the same? This is inhumane, or say nothing. First she corrupts her mind with this knowledge, and now you are planning to do the same. Studying the forbidden is part of my work. I will show greater caution than Emelina did, or else I will suffer the same fate. We are finished here. The planet will be designated unfit for further use. The risks are simply too great. It will take a few hours to deal with the excavation site and what the diggers found there, but it will not delay us. When we return to the ship, find a minute to speak with me. Yeah. There's a very good chance that he is going to just kill off everyone here. That statement about, I think, anyone who witnessed that conversation is going to die. Yeah. Because we said we would give them weapons and training and whatnot to help them survive the threat. But his thought that they're going to deal with the people here does not fill me with a lot of hope for these people.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
Which, I guess, you know, we didn't want them on our ship because they'd been exposed to chaos and heresy. Their chances of survival was pretty limited. But I do feel slightly bad for them. It's not their fault. They were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Witness to things they shouldn't have been. Yeah. Alright. let's head back to the ship. And then talk to Heinrichs and find out what is going on. Hello, Heinrichs.
Lord Captain, I thank you for your assistance with my mission. Thanks to rogue trader von Valancius, the Inquisition has stopped the enemies of humanity, even those hiding in its own ranks on this occasion. I will no longer be making any claim on your time or resources.
Heinrichs' face is frozen in an impenetrable mask, as if you were looking at a stone statue, not a living man. What happened to Emelina? Everything Emelina says about Calcazar, should we be concerned about it? What are you going to do now that this is done? I'm going to ask about his opinion on Calcazar. Should we be concerned about it? Does he believe there's any chance that Calcazar has crossed into heretical dealings?
It is dangerous information, but you are already too deeply involved. In the Inquisition, there are two main philosophies: Puritanism and radicalism. The adherents of the former are conservatives who strive to follow the letter of inquisitorial doctrine in all matters. The radicals are more pragmatic. They believe that the end often justifies the means, and they use tools that a Puritan would condemn as heretical.
Heinrichs crosses his arms and drums his fingers on his forearm.
Emelina used the powers of chaos to gain the upper hand against Xenos. I touched a cogitator built by cultists to learn its secrets. None of us is pure. Xavier, the craven-hearted say that the career of every Inquisitor ends in either death or heresy. The Lord Inquisitor has borne this burden longer than any of us. It would be naive to think that he had only ever used Puritan methods, and even more naive to suggest that such methods have in any way weakened his loyalty to the God Emperor. And that is all I will say on the subject.
Heinrichs hesitates and then resumes speaking, now choosing his words with extreme care. Yeah, so every Inquisitor ends in death or heresy. Yeah, that's pretty common. And very few are able to hold out to Puritan forever, because eventually they have to do something for the good of the Imperium that forces them to do chaos rituals, or work with a Xeno, or work alongside a cult, at least for a period of time. But the assumption, I like a statement of, just because he's used such methods doesn't mean that it's weakened his loyalty to the God Emperor. Which I think is kind of the vibe I'm feeling for our character. We are dogmatic, we follow and worship the God Emperor, but for the betterment of humanity, we have done things that aren't Puritan. What happened to Emelina?
There are ways of breaking into her memory and extracting the secrets she is still keeping within herself. I will see to it that no secret escapes the grasp of the Holy Ordos. This is not the first time, or the last, I fear, that I will cause the death of someone close to me. There have always been reasons for it. Sometimes the reasons are dictated by duty, sometimes by my own personal volition.
The fact that he is going to break her and eventually kill her just to find out what possible information she knows about this other character, Tanakia, that he cares for, feels really dark. Like, there was no talk of him torturing the information out of her until Tanakia's name came up. And then suddenly, that was his whole focus, is I'm going to tear apart your mind to learn what you know. It's not good. What are you going to do now that this is done?
I will remain part of your retinue. That will not change. I will continue to accompany you until I receive orders to the contrary from the Lord Inquisitor, if ever. Who knows? Perhaps one day my journey will end like Emelina's, but that day is not today.
Heinrich's face darkens. Yeah. If you're in the Inquisition long enough, either you get killed by something you're hunting, or eventually you step too far. I must take my leave. Heinrich politely inclines his head in response. Anything further?
To what do I owe this
No.
visit?
Okay. Then what do we still have? Yeah, we've got this one from Chapter 2 that we still have no idea how to progress it. Find traces of the Gene Stealer cult. Somewhere out there we're going to find more, but it's a Chapter 2 thing. So it's just weird that we haven't resolved it. The door we're waiting on, Adira will tell us when she finds whatever door she's looking for. Fair trade is for the Arbiter. Yeah, our new companion. A new event for Cabela, right. Janus Danrock. Was that saying on Dargonus? We were just at Dargonus, and did I miss talking to him about this? Apparently. Oh well. Let's head back out. So now that ship battles are okay, I could try another shot at taking on the pirate. But he stomped us really hard when we went after him last time, so I'm not super excited to go take on his ship again. We don't have the ability to do the Eye of the Magnetic Storm yet. I don't know what caused that to unlock. So yeah, we could begin exploring up this way for the Arbitrator's quest and see some of these new systems we haven't been to before. Or we could head down here for the main quest with the other rogue trader. I think I'm going to keep avoiding the main quest for now. Maybe let's head down here to Dargonus. We'll do that event for Cabela, and then we'll swing over here. I think that seems fine. While traveling through the Imperium, the crew on duty in loading bay 7 heard what sounded like a giant hissing of a giant snake. Yeah, we've seen that. Incident in the shuttle repair bay. Security team was dispatched to the distress signal. Discovered the shuttle's repair crew had doubled in number. Somehow every crew member now had an identical twin, but each assured the enforcers that they were the real one. Enforcers immediately opened fire, killing everyone in the bay. The duty officer awarded the squad a commendation for their vigilance and efficiency. Yeah, it's possible that upon leaving the warp, one of the twins would have disappeared. But better to just be safe. So let's head into Dargonus. Because Cabela actually said she was interested in doing this event, which originally I thought she wouldn't be. So let's go to our throne room. Bring Cabela with us. Not that we actually have our companions with us when we're in the palace, so I'm not sure why it makes us make that choice. Although maybe that does decide who is scattered around the palace grounds. These, yeah, we're by ourselves. Yeah, you're the one who's selling these cyber pets. But I don't think we can get access to one. I don't know. Where is High Factotum hiding out? Solomon and Glato. Abelard. I don't know. It said in the palace. Nothing from you. Yeah. Alright, let's keep wandering and hope we find him. There you are. General Stanrock squares his shoulders as you approach and gives you a dazzling smile. Your lordship, would you like to give the order to begin your enchanting meeting with Mistress Cabela? Yes, let us begin. Fabulous. I shall see to the arrangements. There will be a short wait, but I assure you, both you and your companion will find this evening unforgettable. I beg your pardon, your lordship. Everything is in place for your special evening. Something has changed in Cabela. As she stands next to you, you take in her posture, her movements, her gestures. Every detail in her appearance is different in some way. She has chosen to forgo the regalia of the blood-spun web on this occasion, and neither does she emanate an aura of frightening lethality. She casts an eye over the space prepared for you, then glances at the Master of Ceremonies. With a languid drawl, she says, I must give credit to your subjects, Domin Ignatius. Their eagerness to satisfy your wishes is enough to melt one's heart. The Master of Ceremonies adjusts his attire and gives you both a ridiculous smile, seemingly hypnotized by the sound of Cabela's voice. Anything to please his lordship and his lovely companion. Let's look at Cabela. You remember Cabela as she was at the first event organized by the High Factotum. Somehow, her former outlandishness has completely vanished, as if she has spent her whole life attending only the most lavish receptions and enjoying the high society of the upper decks. She even looks like she's actually enjoying all the attention. Let's look at the people around you. The servants and junior officers stand at attention. It seems that Cabela's newfound parlor confidence has made a strong impression on them. All eyes are on her, as though she were emitting some form of invisible yet deeply alluring glow. This enthusiasm for social occasions is unexpected, Cabela. My desire to appear among the people in your circle surprises you, Domin Ignatius. How so? Does it not please you that I wish to be part of your world, embrace it, surrender to it? I was rather graceless on my first excursion out into the upper class, but that will not happen again. You hear a murmur of adoration from all around you. I simply marvel at the change. I am glad that you found a way to enjoy the pastimes that are customary to my peers. I liked you the way you were before. No? I'm glad that you are more comfortable out and about. Cabela gives you an affectionate smile. It's the least I could do to thank you for introducing me to it. Address the Master of Ceremonies. Leave us. Cabela casts one more look at the man. Thank you. You truly have gone above and beyond to impress your lord. The Master of Ceremonies seems to have forgotten about your presence entirely as he gives your companion his undivided attention. Why, Mistress Cabela, your praise is the greatest reward. That's weird that the Master of Ceremonies seems to have forgotten about your presence entirely. Like, as the rogue trader, you would expect us to be at the forefront of their mind always. Be very careful with what you say. Clear your throat, say nothing, or hiss under your breath. Your life is forfeit, you cur. I'll just say nothing. We'll see how this goes. If he steps too far, we can then try to clear your throat. Hopefully. For humble servants who bask in the radiance of your attention, he bows and scrapes before retreating with an overly courteous expression. Cabela casts you a look. Well then, shall we? Oh, just date night on a balcony? The noise of the hive reaches the balcony as nothing more than a steady hum, like the rumbling of a distant ocean. The beautiful decorations and fine delicacies before you could easily make one forget the rot and suffering that permeate the sprawling city below. Cabela's manners are impeccable. One can only wonder where this artful mastery of social customs came from. She glances at you as she lifts her glass. Smile. It appears you have managed to avoid terrifying my subjects with your very presence this time. Nice evening, is it not? How to explain that scene back there? I mean, I'm torn between 1 and 2. Do we want to remind her of last time where she wasn't comfortable? Or do we just give a generic discussion about the weather? It appears you have managed to avoid terrifying my subjects with your very presence this time. I am a spinner of the blood-spun web. You know how to tread silently. We know how to tread silently, how to be invisible, how to wear other people's masks. The guises of your subjects are not particularly subtle. Their courtly sheen, too, conceals the faces of predators and killers, does it not? I had little difficulty inventing such a mask for myself. A nice evening, is it not? I'm absolutely delighted. She sips her drink. Last time, I failed to grasp the sheer beauty of moving in the highest circles, Domin Ignatius. I appreciate that you have arranged this evening for me. My second chance. I do hope that my demeanor suits the expectations of your inner circle better this time. I believe it does, yes. I only hope that you genuinely feel comfortable in this role. Finally, you've stopped embarrassing me in public. That's something I can't complain about. Wow, no. I only hope you feel genuinely comfortable in this role. Comfortable was never something I aspired to earn, or was even taught. It has no bearing on the choice of thread. I'll ask her about that scene back there. I hope this could, depending on how it's phrased, be very negative and accusatory, and I'm hoping that's not how they're taking this. Care to explain that scene back there? I merely wanted to offer my gratitude to your subjects, Domin Ignatius. I had to express my appreciation for all of this, at least. She gestures at the decorations and the food. Or should I be thanking you for doing all of this with your own bare hands? I'm the master of the planet. You should save your thanks for me. If you're looking... It looked as if you were being coquettish with the master of ceremonies. You're acting strangely. It worries me. You're right, my servants have earned a great deal of praise. Forget I said anything. My servants have earned a great deal of praise. She nods silently. I was surprised when I heard you had voiced a desire to make another appearance. The better I understand the world you live in, Domin Ignatius, the better a shadow I can be for you. And the finer blade I can be in the hand of the Undying One's servant. Cabela lowers her head and remains motionless for a few moments. When she looks at you again, her eyes are glassy, suggesting that all her thoughts are now turned inward. She resembles an empty shell, governed by a mere fraction of her mind, while the rest of it eludes your sight. You notice that her hand that is lying on the table is not completely still. Her fingers, with subtle twitches, is tracing a familiar pattern. Cabela, are you in the labyrinth? Touch Cabela's hand. Back to me, please. Or ignore her behavior and continue your dinner. Cabela, are you in the labyrinth? mean, I do like the touch her hand and ask her to come back to me. I hope we can get to that afterwards. That this isn't going to snap her out of it. Are you in the labyrinth? She tilts her head to the side. I'm searching for answers in the same place where I've always found them. She drops her gaze with an expression that invites no further conversation. Oh, I should have touched her hand. Several long minutes pass. In the suffocating silence, Cabela's aloofness becomes all the more disturbing. Finally, she takes a sip from her glass and says in a suave voice, "The hour's getting late. Could you please show me a view of the hive? I would like to see your domain." Missed my chance. Shame. Should have touched her hand. Tangled network of streets, bridges, and main hive. The main hive spreads far below. The people buzzing about in lit areas seem no larger than gnats at this distance. Cabela stares past the balustrade with wide eyes, seemingly mesmerized by the view, by the great beckoning fall. She leans forward and then clutches the handrail so tightly her knuckles turn white, gasping in wonder. What's wrong? It's enough to make your head spin, isn't it? I support her elbow without saying anything. What's wrong? Another stifled gasp, then a laugh. I've never seen such heights before in my life. No distance on the ship comes close to this. I feel like this emptiness might swallow me whole. Cabela turns to you and smiles, this time sincerely. It's beautiful. She reaches out a hand to you and gently touches your cheek, her fingertips sliding down your skin. With you, I feel different. Nothing like how the tenants say I must. There is so much more to life than my clan's deck. Her gaze goes blank, and discovering it has unraveled my world. I am your blade, I am your shield, and today, here and now, I vow to do whatever it takes to become the perfect weapon in your hands. Already, I am changing, Dome Ignatius. She looks at you with burning eyes. Tell me, does this Cabela please you? No, I need the real you, not a blade. I will accept you regardless of whom you decide to be. No one can make that decision for you. No, I'm tired of your emotional tribulations. It's over between us. I mean, I definitely want... We've been pushing her to be less of a weapon and more of a person. But it feels very strong to just say, no, I need the real you, not a blade. I feel like it would feel better if she made that decision herself, but I'm worried that she wouldn't. I will accept you regardless of whom you decide to be. Feels good. As long as she makes the decision I want, which is a terrible, terrible way of phrasing that. Just I want you to have the freedom to make your own choice as long as that choice is what I want you to make. It's just real bad. I'm gonna go for it. I will accept you regardless of whom you decide to be. No one can make that decision for you. She lowers her head. It is so strange to hear the Doman give me a choice, and yet I fear that such a choice might burden my soul too heavily in his eyes. I love you. You should get some rest. Let's end the evening here. Stay with me tonight. We have the whole palace to ourselves. We go with I love you. So we're both wearing large, bulky helmets. Cabela looks at you closely. Instead of speaking, she clings to you and gives you a long, breathtaking kiss filled with sincere warmth. When eventually she pulls away, she gingerly touches your cheek with her fingers. Stay with me tonight. We have the whole palace to ourselves. Cabela pulls you to herself. Let's go. I want to leave this stage overlooking a whole world. I want to be alone with you, to be true with you as never before. 8 hours pass.
Sitting on your throne has not cost you your flexibility. That is a welcome discovery.
Okay. I don't think we missed out on too much by not touching her hand. Feels like that would have been the better choice. Let's see if we can find Cabela around here. I assume she's somewhere. Yeah, so it's not deciding who is here because Adira's not in our party and she's here. Then why does it make me choose who I'm bringing with me? If I end up just by myself anyway. I'm going to go over to the Curiosity Merchant just to see if I can buy anything. Yeah, do you have anything for me? What curiosities do you have? So yeah, I can't get an actual pet myself. These are just upgrades if I had a cyber pet. Which means arguably I could buy some upgrades for Solomon. I don't know. Let's head back to our ship. We can talk to Cabela up there. Alright. She hangs out down here, usually repeatedly stabbing herself in the hand. Although she hasn't really done that since she became the head spinner. Oh, never mind. Just seemed like last time we were here she was just standing idle, whereas she used to be constantly attacking herself. Maybe in a patch they reduce the frequency of that animation.
Domin, sacred overlord of the Ark, my protector and friend. How may the vizier of the blood-spun web, your shield, shadow, and blade serve you?
Cabela stands with her shoulders confidently squared, her dark eyes burning brighter than stars. Seems like a strange description. Friend. I would think that we are closer than just protector and friend, and that she is more than just shield, shadow, and blade. But okay. I must take my leave.
May the Undying One shroud your footsteps from the faithless.
Okay. So that is that quest line done. I think we are ready to go back to exploring farther in the Koronus Expanse. So we're going to head towards Solomon's DLC. Over here. A trickle of disturbing news comes from the Navigator's Sanctum over the last few days. Allegedly, there is a vast shadow following the void ship through the depths of the Sea of Souls. Mere hours before emerging in real space, the vessel shuddered. An unidentified leviathan had emerged from the whirling warp, wrapped its tentacles around the ship, and started squeezing, trying to crack the hull like an egg. Pray for salvation from the warp trap, or trust in the Navigator's talent. Looks like, this doesn't sound familiar to me, but maybe we've run across it. It looks like we've had this event before, and last time we prayed for salvation from the warp trap. Maybe this time we'll trust in the navigator's talent. Cassie can get us through anything. The ship's navigator engaged the warp monster in invisible combat by giving orders from the Sanctum Navis. By following the Astronomicon's guiding light and struggling against the mighty alien will at the same time, the guide managed to pry the void vessel from the nightmarish creature's grasp and execute an emergency translation to real space with minimal losses among the crew and new insights into the nature of warp entities. Gain 20 experience and gain 2 more navigator's insight. Nice. Not that we're running low on that. Alright, let's improve the safety a couple of levels and warp out to here. Chart new routes. Okay. So, we've got 2 new systems and a stubborn seller. The Curiosity Merchant told the rogue trader about an unusual piece of cyber beast equipment that the captain of the Renegade's Fall had refused to sell him. He provided the coordinates of the place where he had last met the stubborn man. So we don't know what system that's in. Just somewhere among these 3. Well, let's head into this one, where we're trying to get to Thesara for Solomon's quest. When we get there, we'll look to see what is going on. Lord Captain, we've received a broadcast from Thesara. The signal quality is rather poor, but the meaning is clear. The world is expecting your lordship's arrival. Great festivities have been arranged, and a delegation led by the planetary governor is ready to give you a welcome worthy of an honored guest. Really? The Adeptus Administratum has noticed certain oddities in the recent tithe shipments from the feudal world of Thesara. The rogue trader and the arbitrator must inspect the planet. The rogue trader must land on Thesara and meet the planet's governor. So we believe that they are holding out on the taxes they're supposed to be sending. So we're going there with the intent to meet the governor and put them in their place. But they think we are coming here as honored guests for a celebration. Also, destroyed ship makes me think that maybe they sent the taxes and they got blown up and they're not aware. Let's check out the destroyed ship. Scrap box times 3. Oh, are we damaged? Yes, let's repair. Did we open those scrap boxes? I don't think so. Maybe we did. Well, they're not showing up in our inventory, and they didn't show up in the ship inventory, so I'm guessing so. Oh, we have more colony stuff going on. So we must have spent them. So we are at maximum level with the hull, so I guess let's spend some of our scrap into improving the RAM. So our ship is as tough as it can get. That's cool. No. I was trying to click over here. So Dargonus, of course. Lord Captain's presence is required. Come on, we were just there. Alright, let's check out the rest of the system before we go to Thesara, just to see what's going on. We'll get back to Dargonus at some point. Nothing of interest. Lava world with an event. Amidst the lifeless rocks and lava lakes, the ship's augurs have detected something resembling buildings. There is something off with their outlines, but their presence in and of itself suggests there may be some valuables to uncover among the ruins. Send a scouting team. The scouts are able to discern symbols of the Imperium on the buildings, deformed and fused together by high temperatures. The ore mining structures tell a sad story. Centuries ago, the planet and all its riches perished beneath the radiance of the system's expanding sun. Okay. So it was some sort of mining world, but the sun slowly expanded until it burned up. Although you would think it said all of its riches were lost. The speed of a star expanding is very slow. They should have had plenty of warning to get off planet with the riches before it became uninhabitable. That's my thought. Another gas giant. Yep, nothing of note. We can mine for 3 promethium. I think we have lots of promethium. We do, 32. So I'm going to ignore that. And now time for Thesara. Okay, so Solomon has to come with us. No surprise there. Yeah. I mean, this is... minus Abelard. Cassia, Pascal, and Irliet is my core team. Abelard's usually with me. And then there's like the 6th slot that's sort of free for whatever I need. Feudal world, which means their technology and lifestyle is kind of medieval. So us showing up with a spaceship is obviously something they're used to, but definitely marks us as being outside the norm for what they regularly interact with, at least the standard people. Yeah, knights on horseback. It's just so different. Governor Ruoldo. Okay. A richly dressed man riding a sinewy horse breaks off from the procession. When he approaches, you immediately notice a strange detail. The man's face is pinned to his head with precious fastenings that stretch the skin across his skull. Does that mean it's not actually his face? Huh. Celestial guests, there is no higher honor for us than to extend our hospitality to such noble eminences. His Celestial Highness, the Rogue Trader, and an illustrious adjudicator of the Imperium, all of Thesara, clamors, trembles, and cheers. Ruoldo, the fair-faced Governor of Thesara, at your service. Thank you for your courteous welcome, Governor. However, we have come here to address a grave concern, or glance around with bored expression. I will proceed inside now. I find all of this squalor rather than tiring. Yeah, having them put on their biggest presentation for us as honored guests and us just being like, wow, this squalor is terrible. We have come here to address a grave concern. But of course, your Celestial Highness, it would be my pleasure to discuss whatever topic you have in mind. That said, you have had such a long and perilous journey behind you. Like any self-respecting host, I must first propose... Hello? Bluff the court fool. A smaller figure steps out of the rider's shadow, dressed in the motley attire of a court fool and wearing a sneering mask. My name is Bluff. I am Lord Ruoldo's good mood. I tickle his governorship with well-spouted jests and itty-bitty gossip, and now I merrily doff my cap to our celestial lords and ladies, and hand them this here key to Thessara, as a token of our boundless loyalty. The fool bows and offers you his gift. Accept the gift, thank you, Bluff. Wave in Abelard's direction. Seneschal, you take it. I do not wish to soil my hands. Do your servants often interrupt their rulers' conversations without permission, Governor? Or strike the fool. Mind your place, peasant. This definitely seems weird and out of place. Do your servants often interrupt their rulers' conversations without permission, Governor? Oh, the embarrassment. The governor leans down from his horse and grabs the fool's hand. Having wrenched the key from Bluff's grasp, Rualdo raises his hand to strike, and the fool quickly backs off. Finally, the governor offers the gift to you with a reverential bow. Let's look at the governor. Governor's heavy gold-stitched jacket adds a certain presence to his figure, but it cannot hide how poor of a rider he is. The way his boots dig into the horse's sides, his hands fiddling with the reins, his trembling fingers often speak of nervousness and lack of control. What happened to your face, Roldo? It's a rude way of phrasing it, but I am curious. Clearly something is off about him. He's nervous, and the fact his face is sort of stitched on really is weird. What happened to your face, Rualdo? Rualdo touches his stretched out countenance. Ah, this is a fine tradition that I myself brought to this world. You see, there's a way to tame the merciless passage of time. All you need is to find a young and healthy face, appropriate it, and attach it over your own fading skin. The local nobility eagerly took to this art of extending one's life and youth, and I, once a celestial lord myself, now promote this custom by personal example, so I may showcase its wonderful properties. That wouldn't actually de-age you. I mean, yeah, it gives you a younger face, but the rest of your body is still aged to the same level. Also, you took someone else's face. As long as it does not hinder your service to the Imperium, I will allow it. Put on other people's skin out of a desire to look younger? You will declare this vile practice banned today, iconoclast. Or heretical, a fine tradition indeed. I hope the subjects are conscious when you peel their skins off. I would love to attend such a procedure myself sometime and enjoy the show. Or just interesting. It's amazing how similar dogmatic and heretical are at times, where both of them are like, yeah, this seems like a perfectly fine practice that we are totally cool with. And Iconoclast is like, what is wrong with you? I mean, the general serf population, from a 40k standpoint, doesn't matter. The death of an individual, if it helps the running of the Imperium, is... I don't know how much this helps the Imperium. I don't know. As long as it does not hinder your service to the Imperium, I will allow it. It's not a great practice, but in the scale of 40k, it's not that bad. Ruddle smiles, causing his muscles to crease his attached face in a disturbing way. Celestial Highness, what kind of an address is that? That is what we call the Highborn, who come down to us in their wondrous vessels. Of course, I am not a native of Thessara, and thus was once a Celestial Lord myself. I've grown used to the local customs, however, and so I address you like any Thessarian would. Do we just say, I'm sure you know why we're here. We have Abelard announce our purpose here in the midst of this crowd. Or do we let Solomon do it? I'm gonna let Abelard do it. I think it's fun. Abelard, announce the purpose of our visit to these provincials. Abelard clears his throat. His Lordship Ignatius von Valencius, inheritor of the great protectorate of the Koronus Expanse and bearer of the sacred warrant, has graced Thessara with his presence in order to discuss matters pertaining to this planet's tithe. Enough. According to Data Protocol Calixtus Sigma UX11-4, this Mu class planet, type feudal, Estimar rating E874. Planet's Estimar rating reflects its strategic value to the Imperium and has the form of an alphanumeric code that ranges from A0 to Z1000. With an assigned tithe grade of Solutio Extremis, planets are graded from Adeptus Non, meaning no tithe collected, to Exactus Extremis, the harshest of tax burdens. Has not provided its due tithe amount in full. You have violated the Lex and are hereby under investigation. You are to present all related customs, reports, and shipping manifests immediately. The Proctor's voice carries no emotion, and Glados silently bares his teeth, completing the image of the implacable hand of justice that has arrived on Thessara. I am most flattered by your attention, esteemed adjudicator, and by this opportunity to serve the Imperium with even greater dedication than before. Speaking of dedication, we are already conducting a thorough inspection to see which scribe it was that bungled the tithe calculation. Fear not, the scoundrels shall soon be. Excuses are the hallmark of the guilty. Do not make your situation worse, Governor. Rollo claps his hands together and says meekly, "Of course, Master Adjudicator. I will provide you with all the documents as soon as our internal review is complete. I assure you it won't take long, and the report itself will be exhaustive." If there's something else the esteemed governor wished to say, here at the Proctor, take us somewhere we can have a serious conversation, or glare at Raldo. Was there something else the governor wished to say? I believe there's something else the esteemed governor wished to say. Thank you, your celestial highness. We know your journey here must have been an arduous one. As a sign of our appreciation, we have prepared a veritable constellation of enjoyments in your honor. We humbly invite you to taste of our amsec, along with our finest dishes, and may you likewise savor some of the local entertainment. One of the court ladies will accompany you, so as not to let even a single word or wish of yours linger without attention. Maeve. Okay. A thin woman emerges into the torchlight, looking at you with a mixture of fear and awe. Her diminutive figure is practically drowning in her velvet and silk dress, and a resplendent necklace of blue stone adorns her neck. Maeve, my celestial lord, at your service. Solomon leans closer and says in a lowered voice, "Based on my experience, I would say we have been assigned a spy under a pretense of generosity, but this is a good thing. We will use this woman as our source of information about the world. For now, it would be wise to play along and question her thoroughly once we are away from prying ears." Smile, relax, Maeve. Just pretend that you are giving a good friend a tour of the place. Your face is your own. Why is that? I mean, I'm not going to require everyone to wear someone else's face. That would get confusing. You mentioned entertainment. Tell me more. An exquisite necklace. I think it would look better around the neck of your celestial lord. Very well, I would like to see what this place has to offer. Yawn. Remember, Maeve, I do not want to hear a word out of you unless I give you explicit permission or ask a direct question. Or I have no interest in your base entertainments. The sooner we start reviewing the tithe documents, the better. Relax, Maeve. Just pretend you are giving a good friend a tour of the place. Maeve smiles sheepishly. I'm afraid that is easier said than done, my celestial lord. It would be like trying to imagine a mighty sun as a tiny ember, but I will do my best not to anger you by acting too nervous. You mentioned entertainment. Tell me more. Kadua, the Scorched, is hosting a public trial for a few guilty wretches today. I also overheard that the Council of Thessarian Nobility was preparing a special gift for you. Besides those, our mechanical orchestra, the only one on Thessara, will be playing all evening. And of course, you will also get to see the crowning jewel of Lord Raldo's collection, his maimed metal-harnessed beasts. His maimed metal-harnessed beasts. Okay. Bluff the court fool. Little beasties like to play. People are their favorite prey. Champ and chomp and munch and crunch. Look, it snapped your head away. Screams and tears and gore and more. Happy beastie, happy day. Okay, the The mechanical orchestra is servitors. I guess that makes sense. We can see them here. Now the servitor orchestra. Fascinating. How do you manage to acquire something like that? Though at most only once in a generation, even the Tsar receives visits from time to time, Your Celestial Highness. One day an entire delegation from a foreign world arrived with these mechanical musicians in tow. We were immediately smitten with them. Sadly, our performance have now fallen into a sorry state. The Tsar's humid air makes their preservation difficult, you see, and we don't have a single crimson-clad holy man or woman left. All we can do now is offer up prayers of our own, burn oils, and do everything else the old writings say, even though we have no hope of understanding them. Judging by the stench, the servitors, or more specifically the parts of them made of flesh, will not last much longer. Slime oozes from rust holes. Every other lifeless eye is adorned with cataracts, and their mouths are like corpse dumps filled with shards of rotten teeth. Every wrong note their instruments play is accompanied by the mournful screech of servo motors and sparks flashing from dangling wires. Pascal's optical visor fills with deep red, and his vox speaker erupts into a howl of pain fury. I am registering heretical sacrilege born from the stupidity of self-entitled laity. The commandment, allow not a false prophet to touch upon the mysteries of the Omnissiah, has been violated. The commandment, offend not the Omnissiah by negligent misservice, has been trampled. His wail turns into angry, stifled wheeze. What scoundrel was it that thought to burn sacred unguents instead of incense? Yeah, sorry, Pascal, they don't know what they're doing. Very well, I would like to see what this place has to offer. I can tell by what I'm hearing that our executioner has already lit up the Thesmophorus, ready to give the condemned a warm welcome, which means the governor's official whisper collector, that's me, has a whole lot of important business to get to, and so I must leave you now. Good sirs and ladies, lest I miss out on a hot batch of juicy tales, terribly pleased to meet you all, on adjudicator. Bluff grasps Solomon's hand and gives it a vigorous shake. Yeah, Bluff, you're weird. I don't know what your deal is, but something weird's going on with you. Yeah, not terribly surprised how that played out. Before you can even blink, the Cyber Mastiff beside him sinks its teeth into Bluff's forearm, jerking it back and forth in a fury. The attack lasts only for a moment, but when Glado lets go, the fool's limb is already torn to shreds. With a cry of pain, Bluff leaps away and melds into the roiling crowd. Solomon ruffles Glado's neck and turns to you. Feudal worlds are rarely known for their bureaucratic precision. Reconnaissance on the ground will tell us more than any report hastily scribbled down by these blockheads. I suggest we attend this trial and see how the laws of this planet are enforced. Can't wait to meet some kindred spirits. I'm doubting he's going to meet any kindred spirits. Never harm these people without my permission again, Solomon. No, Bluff was out of line. I don't know if tearing apart his arm was the right call. But there's definitely something weird about him. Let's go then. We must not miss the biggest local spectacle. It will help the investigation. We should not dally. With plenty of time, first I will inspect every nook and cranny in this place. Can't wait to meet some kindred spirits. Just professional intuition. Shall we go? Let's go then. We must not miss the biggest local spectacle. Yeah, I'm not really interested in the local spectacle of an execution. If it will help the investigation, we should not dally. I'm pleased to see that you prefer to continue our mission over all the idle pastimes of this world. Solomon looks at the crowd staring at you in wonder and trepidation. So, Celestial Lord, your coming is a historic event to these people. They will be watching your every step, and your actions may well transform their lives on this undeveloped world. Yep. Alright. We need to level you up. Hopefully not too much. 3 levels. Hmm. Ooh, guaranteed criticals feels pretty good. For you, we've got coercion and demolitions. Let's boost your demolitions, I suppose. Alright. Unpredictable. Give a higher critical hit chance when you're in cover. That feels pretty good. I mean, there's nothing else that you're really good at besides coercion and demolitions. I guess commerce is your next best. Followed by persuasion, but Cassie is always in the party, so certainly don't need you to boost that up. Granted, commerce is in the same situation. Cassie is in the party. But persuasion, she's at 184. Yeah. Sure, commerce is fine. I guess no heresy. And then we can't boost your ballistics. Could just go toughness. I don't know what is important for his archetype. I'm not that familiar with his archetype. I don't know. I'm going toughness. More health isn't going to hurt. Okay. So we've got some knights here. Clerics, knights. Stall owners. Ooh, goods. Chronicle of Fates by Gregorius Fault, Chapter 2. It befits any servant of his to thank daily the Emperor, him that holdeth the key, for the lot given them in life. As I have thanked him with my writings for the thousands of moon lives, so too do I thank him now with the fetters that are preparing my soul for its new destiny. The rules of this service are simple. Day after day, I reverently carry with me the glass fetters, not daring to break them. Some believe that merely keeping them by one's bedside is enough to perform the sacrament. This is a lie, perpetuated by the slothful and the faint of heart. They believe that there are some glass fetters that most just keep by their bedside, but this guy thinks that it's important to carry them on him as a sacrament. I don't know what that means, but it doesn't sound like a normal aspect of the Imperium. So I think that's where we're trying to get to. Let's wander around a bit first. Anything we can interact with. There's a climbing spot up here to get somewhere. Dead body up here, that's important. There were some goods back here. We'll grab these first. Oh, trap.
Oh, too hard for a simple monkey. Watch your steps.
Couple of
I
traps.
sense something nearby.
Lots of traps.
A trivial task. My success was inevitable.
What do we have? Ebonite sword. It's a two-handed sword. Target hit with the sword suffers a number of static charges equal to the damage dealt by the attack. When a creature with those stacks is killed, all creatures adjacent to it, except the wielder, suffer shock damage equal to the number of static charge stacks. Most warriors... Okay. So... every time you hit them, they just start building up static equal to the damage you're doing until eventually someone dies and it just blasts out doing damage to all creatures, not enemies. So probably the person who's up front attacking is going to get hit by these static charges as well. Not ideal, but interesting. And then a Cyber Eagle thing that we can't use because we don't have a Cyber Eagle. It's really weird that the DLC added these cyber pets that, unless I'm missing something, only we'd have to reclass ourselves to be an Arbites in order to have them. And I don't see a need to have multiple Arbites on the party. Just is weird. Alright. Can we get up here? Yes. Where are you all running off to?
We need to investigate.
Is the only way over here walking around in some really long, convoluted fashion?
Follow my lead.
Can't open this gate or anything? Okay, yeah, we gotta go down here to get to that body. And then potentially we could climb up to here somewhere to get over to these goods. Yeah, I don't see any other way to get over here. So yeah, we're gonna have to come down from the top. I'll have to remember that when we get up there. Clerics, what do you believe? Can't really tell.
I won't tolerate weakness.
More goods. Another pamphlet. So this is chapter 1. Let these instructions enlighten all who walk in my footsteps. He that holdeth the key permits none but his most faithful to change their fates, and I, the eminent Gregorius Fault, have no right to fail him. This my present work will describe how a soul becomes purified and the rituals required to prepare it for its momentous turn of fate. These being things that any servant of his who intends to break the shackles of their former life will have to undergo. So it's interesting to me, they're talking all about he that holdeth the key, which seems to be the Emperor. But they also gave us a key to Thessara. So I'm wondering what they believe about holding keys, like why that's so important to their religious view.
A new challenge for me.
And we've got some goods over here. No one with a name yet. You see Lady Noella's rotting face? No amount of whitener can fix that. They say the poor soul has been trying to cover her sores with lime wash, the kind they use for walls. Oh. Maeve, anything you want to talk about at this point? Noticing your gaze, Maeve turns to you. My celestial lord. She hesitates before continuing. They say you are the God Emperor's anointed. Have you truly seen him? Why, have I? I've not just seen him, I personally advised him on the ruling of the Imperium. No. Let us know, our God Emperor resides on Holy Terra, many light centuries from here. To behold him is a privilege denied to all but a few. Throw Maeve a look of contempt. I'm not gonna lie. No, to behold him is a privilege denied to all but a few. Maeve lets out a forlorn sigh. I wish I could see him, but I am sure his splendor is so dazzlingly bright that one glance upon his visage is enough to blind a person on the spot. Oh, pardon me. You probably wanted to ask me something, didn't you? You are actually correct. Astropaths, I believe, part of their training is... I think it involves looking upon the Emperor, which burns out their eyes, but that allows them to be able to forever see the Astronomicon. That's part of the process. I could be slightly off on that. Solomon casts a quick glance around as if looking for someone and then nods at you confidently. How do you find living at the governor's court? What do you think of the governor? Tell me about Bluff the Fool. How did he win the governor's favor? Since you're here, show me how Thessarian entertain their nobles. Continue our walk or look straight through her. How do you find living at the governor's court? I dare not complain, my celestial lord. Lesser nobles such as myself sometimes receive punishments for angering our lords, but that is good in a way. I think it makes me cleaner and brighter on the inside, and helps me to better serve the God Emperor, the holder of the key to all destinies. Maeve makes the sign of the Aquila and turns a reverent gaze upon you. Holder of the key to all destinies. So that's, again, this connection to keys. You called the Emperor the holder of the key to all destinies. Why? Forgive me if I've said something wrong, my lord. Preacher Antiochus said that the God Emperor holds the key to all destinies in his celestial hand. He himself sits at the very top of the great tower of humankind. From there, gazing out over the worlds and stars of his domain, he sees all, knows all, and a bloody tear rolls down his cheek when he reads our shameful thoughts and deeds and the annals of our lives. But those who strive, who do not let the seed of evil into their hearts, he will reward with a new destiny, a new life, higher and better than the one before. With a turn of his key, he unlocks the dungeon of their souls. I live in hope that one day he will come to my door. Maeve smiles. Maeve's smile is one of sad resignation. So they believe in sort of a reincarnation of, if you've lived a pure life, the God Emperor will turn a key to the dungeon of your soul, whatever that means, to give you a new, better life. How fascinating. And what are you going to do to get a better destiny? I can hope, pray earnestly, try to be virtuous and diligent, and if I manage to please the Celestial Lord, then maybe, just maybe, the Emperor will take notice. Why did the God Emperor lock people in a dungeon? Are we referring to this, the dungeon of their soul? I don't think that's a real dungeon. Why did the God Emperor lock people in a dungeon? In the time of darkness, the God Emperor walled up the tower of humankind against fiends and monsters to keep it safe from evil. But evil had already planted its seeds in thousands upon thousands of human souls. He locked them in the dungeon of the tower, so that they might first eradicate the evil in their thoughts. All our lives, we atone for the transgressions against the God Emperor, and after death, we return to his judgment. But that is our burden to bear, my lord. When I see you and realize that before me stands his anointed one, blessed by his godly hand, there is no one happier than I. She refers to the Tower of Humankind as the tower where the God Emperor sits on top of, whatever that means. But that, like, all of space is a giant tower the God Emperor is on top of that is walled against evil. I mean, metaphorically, maybe there's something you could go with, since they don't really understand space travel and all that, being a feudal world. Giving them the benefit of the doubt, there's some logic to this. I don't really know where their viewpoint is coming from, but having slightly different views of the Imperial Creed, or I guess the Imperial cult, is generally okay as long as it doesn't break off into heresy. Which is why you have like the death cults and whatnot, where their view is very different than the average viewpoint taught by the ecclesiarchy, but it's still okay because it's still a version of worshipping the God Emperor, and they're not delving into heresy. So I can't say that their view is necessarily wrong, because it doesn't seem yet like they're doing anything heretical from what she's said. What do you think of the governor? Oh, he is a wonderful person, so considerate and generous, but of course, his venerable age has taken its toll. He behaves oddly from time to time, but we all have our quirks, don't we? Unless those quirks go into heresy. He behaves oddly. How so? Well, he gave me a lovely Desertium necklace just before you arrived. Strange, is it not, to bestow such treasure on someone of the lower nobility? And I also noticed that we have been conversing more of late, and it's been easier. As soon as I think he knows me better than I know myself. Okay, that necklace has something questionable about it. So the governor has never favored you like this before. Perhaps the appointment to escort the rogue trader also came as a surprise. May blinks in astonishment. That is so, my lord adjudicator. I still wonder why the God Emperor saw fit to bestow such tremendous honor upon me. Yeah, I'm guessing some sort of implanted listening device in the necklace, or maybe some warpy thing. Something about that necklace is probably questionable. Tell me about Bluff, the fool. How did he win the governor's favor? He is the best among all the court servants. Maeve looks down, but you catch the fear in her eyes. He always knew how to make the noble lords laugh, but at first, Dane's jokes were just funny pranks and puns. Those were wonderful, almost impossible times. Something happened, and Dane changed, did he not? That is his name, yes? So Bluff changed his, or Dane changed his name to Bluff at some point. The fact that he's fully cloaked and wears a mask, at least to me, means he may not still be the same person. Also, if he massively changed. Dane changed, did he not? That is his name, yes? Yes, he seemed to retreat into himself all of a sudden, and he started snapping back at people, saying sarcastic, scathing things. His jokes were simple before, but now there is always a nasty bite to them, and he's started exploding at every little thing and ordering me about. My own brother. Having said all this, she freezes in fear, turning white as a sheet. Apologies for my lack of restraint. Bluff is her brother, or at least Dane is her brother. Interesting. For a brief moment, a deep wrinkle cuts across Solomon's forehead. So your brother is not his usual self. This world is a tangled web indeed. When everyone's wearing masks and even the lords are wearing other people's faces, it's got to be hard to know who is actually who. Since you are here, show me how the Thessarians entertain their nobles. I'm gonna ask it. Though I don't want to abuse her. And I'm curious of how this is gonna go. Show me how the Thessarians entertain their nobles. What would you like me to do, my celestial lord? I was taught how to dance and sing. Sing me your favorite song, dance for me, clean your muck off my shoes until they shine. Sing for me. Sing me your favorite song. Maeve nods apprehensively, then closes her eyes and begins. With great care, she sings a passage of some local hymn about how the Emperor, who holds the key of all destinies, locked the heavens against invisible monsters and enemies of humanity. Her voice, though trembling with nerves, is surprisingly pleasant to listen to. What song is that? The story of humanity's deliverance from darkness. It is sung once a moon life as a reminder of the great deeds of the God Emperor, who used the key to all destinies to lock the world away from wicked things. He walled himself up in the great tower of humankind along with all the people. He could have ascended to the stars, but he chose to stay for our sake. Though we are unworthy, we must remember this deed. And not a single note and tune. Awful. That was delightful. Thank you. A blush erupts on Maeve's cheeks. Thank you, Celestial Lord. For me, there is no reward greater than your praise. Dance for me. Maeve closes her eyes as if listening to music only she can hear and begins to sway. Her dance is made up of simple movements, but the grace and ease with which she performs them add to their charm. When she comes to a stop before you in a final curtsy, her cheeks are flushed. I hope this humble dance was worthy of your eyes, Celestial Lord. Teach me to dance? Sullivan's probably just like, we need to get on with the investigation. What are you doing? Teach me to dance. Let's give it a try. Maeve smiles cheerfully. The movements are simple. Watch. You put this foot here, and you stretch your arm out like this. That is excellent, my lord. Thank you, Maeve. It is an honor to entertain the Celestial Lord. I'm gonna say let's continue our walk. The look straight through her feels really weird. Let's continue our walk. As you wish, Celestial Lord.
Victory awaits!
The fact that her brother is the court fool, I'm sure is not an accident. They chose her specifically for a reason. Is this page 3? It is. The sacrament has been performed. I felt the cage open its gates. I felt him that holdeth the keys open the lock of my body. At first I found it hard to breathe. It was as though the inside of my body was lined with vice that was not my own. In my mind's confusion, I cannot tell what moon life it is, or which chapter of this book I am presently writing, but the greatest one is all-knowing, and every turn of fate has been chosen by him in advance. Thus, if my new fate tries to resist me, I shall bring it to heel. Okay, something really weird is going on there. He feels that he has... So it's not necessarily reincarnation, which is what I assumed. He's still alive, but feels that he has moved to a new life. A new fate. I'm wondering if replacing faces is part of the action of getting a new fate, a new life, whatever. Young nobleman next to a cogitator that I can't interact with. Gray-haired nobleman. What's up? As you approach, the nobles bow gracefully. Their sewn-on faces are wrapped tightly around their skulls, and their eyes gleam with earnest subservience. One dares to address you. "O Celestial Lord, grace us with your regard. When my brother and I heard of your arrival, we immediately sought to surprise you with an exceptional gift. The ancient scrolls tell of a wonder, a mechanical sage by the name of the Kojikor. It knows the answers to all questions, can make other machines do its bidding, and may even predict the future. My brother and I have borne many a hardship. We managed to acquire this magic contraption for our much-cherished guest." The box in front of you, presumably the Kojikor they speak of, exudes a strong odor of ritual oils. Made of thin planks, it is covered in so many purity seals that it seems to be held together by them alone. A stack of flimsy rough paper lies atop it, and there is a mica panel with malachite buttons attached to the front. A thin slit is visible among the buttons. Abelard sighs heavily and leans over to you. "Sometimes when information reaches the more backwater worlds, it undergoes strange metamorphoses in the minds of unfortunate and regrettably parochial laypeople. Have mercy, Lord Captain. They probably have been trying to please you." After a chrono turn of heavy silence, Pascal finally intones, "I am registering an active imitation of sanctity. This cultural phenomenon is typical of underdeveloped tribes. I also anticipate the discovery of cave pictograms dedicated to the divine arrival of the more advanced units." Let's listen to the sounds coming from the box. There's a barely audible breathing coming from the box. Whoever is inside wants very much not to be noticed. Gladio stalks towards the box and bares his fangs, while Solomon frowns grimly at the device. Really? Then again, what else could you expect from this ignorant world? There's something I wish to ask this Kajikor. Unseal the box and let the poor soul out at once. Yes, there's probably some slave trapped in there. What a rare, magnificent gift. I will be honored to display it in my chambers. Or break the box. I heard that Kajikors are also indestructible. Let's see if the tales are true. So, the nobles are trying to please me. And Abelard wants us to not, have mercy. But I'm definitely not going to let them leave someone trapped inside. We'll start out by asking the question of the Kajikor. If I may advise the Celestial Lord, in order to receive an answer, one should take a piece of paper and slide it into the hole here. Then touch this stone and ask the question loudly and clearly. Kajikor, what is the distance between the earth and sky? What does the future have in store for me? Kajikor, answer only yes or no. Is your next answer going to be no? Kajikor, what is the punishment for liars and frauds? Enough questions for now. What does the future have in store for me? The sheet shoots back out of the box and falls to the ground. It bears a solemn inscription, Glory Everlasting. What is the punishment for liars and frauds? The box holds the paper for a long time. When the sheet finally emerges from the slot, it is visibly shaking. You see the words, immolation. Please don't. Solomon folds his arms and leans towards the slot, his voice ringing with steel. Machines cannot feel fear, Kajikor. They can only meekly accept their fate. The proctor reaches your gaze and shrugs. I couldn't help myself. Enough questions for now. As you wish. Do not hesitate to pose more questions. It has enough ink for many more answers. Unseal the box and let the poor soul out at once. Who? What poor soul? I do not. The young nobleman addressing you withers under the scathing gaze of his partner. As you command, my celestial lord, forgive us. We wished only to delight you by reproducing an otherworldly miracle we had read about in an ancient chronicle. Iconoclast, you are nothing but a pair of dim-witted lickspittles, but mere stupidity hardly warrants an execution. Get out of my sight. Dogmatic, I will inform the governor of your stunt. I hope that a few dozen lashes will teach you to respect the Omnissiah. Heretical, kill one of the brothers. You dare mock the celestial lord. You are nothing but a pair of dim-witted lickspittles, but mere stupidity hardly warrants an execution. Get out of my sight. I'm going with the Iconoclast option. I don't think they've done anything worthy of lashes. We did not mean to offend. We only wish to please. Yeah, I know. Which is why I'm not going to have you executed or lashed. Alright, over here is how we get down to that corpse. So let's head this way first. What is this symbol? Oh, it's where Gladio would interact. Okay. Sure. Bloody Sacrament. With this maul creates... Area attacks with this maul create a smoke cloud. All creatures that enter... I need to see the full thing. All creatures that enter that area must pass a toughness, strength, and willpower resistance test with a -40 penalty. On a failed toughness test, target becomes blinded. On a failed strength test, slowed. Failed willpower, disturbed for 2 rounds. Huh. Damage is pretty terrible. Particularly for a power weapon. I don't know. I'd rather focus on just killing enemies rather than giving them some minor debuffs. Yep, I see that, Plato.
This Explorator is blessed with multifunctionality.
Ballistic skill. I don't know what that would be a ballistic skill for, so I'm gonna save first.
Did you hope to see an Azuriani fail?
Why are you always failing, Irliet? Last stream, you failed repeatedly. Small dented metal cylinders are scattered in front of the blacksmith. The objects look familiar, but the poor craftsmanship makes it difficult to tell what they were intended to be. My guess is some sort of bullet shell. Let's do a reload, try again, and hope we get a better result.
Too hard for a simple monkey.
Blacksmith has somehow managed to forge shells and casings. These do not belong on a feudal world, but they are no doubt as to what they are. But there is no doubt as to what they are. So they are making shells and casings, which is not something that should be seen on a feudal world. We've got a dead guy here. 95%, so we might fail it. Gonna hope for good results.
My success is an irrefutable certainty.
Judging by his attire, the man was of high social standing. Someone has carefully and skillfully peeled the skin off of his face. So, a high noble, or somewhere in high social standing, was killed. So they're not killing just any old peasant. They've killed someone in high social standing to steal his face. That's very interesting. Let's open this gate.
An expected result.
Might as well. And climb up here.
Experience. Nothing matters more.
More things for cyber pets we don't have. Who's there? Is that the Celestial Lord himself? You shouldn't have come here. Why not? Fates become tangled in this place, and faces change. Who knows if by nightfall you won't have lost yourself. Just a piece of advice, beware the shimmering blue, or else you'll end up like Gregorius Fault. Gregorius Fault is the one who was writing all those chapters that we've been reading. Avoid the shimmering blue, or beware the shimmering blue. Okay.
Compared to naval service, that was barely a challenge.
Maeve, anything you want to say while we're by this body? Nope. Shimmering blue. Let's examine a horse.
I didn't?
The horses glance at you with an odd curiosity. One of them pulls its muzzle closer and clacks its teeth almost greedily and hungrily for a harmless herbivore. Okay. So the horses are more greedy and hungry than we expect. Enormous gate is locked fast. Doesn't seem we can interact with the stall owner. Let's see. There are some goods we missed. Ah, here. We're gonna have to get upstairs. Okay, you do have cyber pets. We'll get to that in a moment. We need to keep going up, I think.
It's about time.
I think we haven't missed anything. Can't talk to you. Okay, so this is the execution, maybe? We've got some mutants, a lot of mutants. Yeah. I think this is the execution. We'll hold off on that if we can. Explore elsewhere first.
As a child, I was captivated by the chronicles of the feudal world Urban II. Knights clad in shining armor riding their fine steeds, battling enemies of humanity, and holding feasts after their victories. But this world has only grey and mud.
I think
The
that's
same is true for many worlds in the Imperium, Lady Cassia. You should accustom yourself to that fact.
I would think that most feudal worlds are going to be fairly gray and mud. Tiny lice are hopping around the gilded plate. The lady squashes the insects with a small golden hammer, only for more of them to drop from her coiffed hair and into her food. Gross. Gross. Super gross. Cyber Mastiff. I should actually look into these. We've gotten quite a few Cyber Mastiff upgrades. If I type in Mastiff. Okay, so it is finding all of them, not just, they don't need Cyber Mastiff in the name. Cyber Mastiff deals 150% more damage whenever its protected ally dodges or parries an attack. The Cyber Mastiff gains +6 temporary wounds and deals 16% more damage for 1 round. Does not stack. I don't think we were using Protect much. We were usually having it go on the offensive. Cyber Mastiff gets +10 weapon skill and deals 75% more damage. Yes, please. More damage sounds great. There's something not right about number 4. It does not know commands, just does whatever it wants, so they locked it up to keep it out of trouble, your celestial highness. Lesser X augmetics are just as rusty and in sore need of service, but the creature looks far worse than the rest. Gaunt and weak, almost miserable. The beast looks up at you with glazed eyes as you approach. On the door, you notice a scrawled sign that reads, Animal number 4, Doubt Feed. The same number is burned into the skin of the Laserax. Let's examine the Laserax. A quick inspection is enough to determine the cause of the problem. Some of the Laserax's augmetics are clearly not working correctly. The muscles near the energy conduits are twitching as if the machine spirits, in their fury, were torturing the beast. It is surprising that only this Laserax shows such signs of torment, considering the poor state of the augmetics of all the cyber beasts here. Such a desolate creature, all that finds its way into the chains of the monkey is doomed to ruin. I've seen Glado convulse like that when his augmetics were malfunctioning, Solomon says, then adds with sudden anger, I doubt the local half-wits had the first clue about maintaining implants. They should have stuck to shovels and left the beast alone. I don't know if we want to unlock the cage. Let's attempt to repair the creature's augmetics. You try to reach your hand inside to get at the Laserax's augmetics, but the cage bars force you to withdraw. We could unlock the cage in the hopes that that option reappears. Might start a fight, which I would win. But Pascal could probably fix it. Let's unlock the cage. You are unfamiliar with the operation of the mechanical lock, but that does not seem to stop you, or that does not stop you from disabling it. The cage door opens with a creak, however the beast inside shows no reaction. Alright, let's attempt to repair it again. You find the issue and fix it with ease. One of the circuits was broken, possibly damaged in a fight with the other beasts. When you are done with the repairs, you're hit with a realization. There is now nothing standing between you and this huge predator. Yeah, it's fine, probably. With a flash of its visors, the beast begins to turn slowly towards the exit. For a brief moment, you find yourself only a meter away from a monstrosity whose jaws could snap a person in two. It hisses in your face. Suddenly, you see something moving out of the corner of your eye. A whirl of skirts, a frail figure. With a small shriek, Maeve throws herself between you and the snarling beast. Off with you! Get away from my lord! What are you doing? It's going to kill you. Step away, Maeve. That's an order. Here comes fresh meat. Dinner time, little monster. What are you doing? It's going to kill you. The young woman is trembling violently, but she does not move an inch. Better me than you. Maeve shuts her eyes tightly and clenches her whitening fingers around her dress. With a sonorous roar, the Lesrex swiftly lunges forward, past Maeve's frail figure, and toward freedom. Oh, goodbye. Sorry we set one of your beasts free. Oops. Salivating profusely, the Lesrex watch the food dispense disappear into people's throats. Judging by their protruding ribs, beasts have not been properly fed in some time. I'll be telling my grandchildren of this day when some people accidentally set one of these cyber Lesrex free. Oops.
Unexpected result.
Alright, so we've got a book here. Chronicle of Fates, page 7875. Also by Gregorius Fault. Chapter 0406. That is a much farther page in this chronicle. I'm impure, and my body is impure. Vital fluids not my own are stirring within me, as though wood-boring beetles are digging their filthy tunnels through my frame. I must destroy this vice. I must squeeze it out. It is customary to replace an old vessel, and I have replaced my rotten cage with chambers of gold. Yet I still feel filthy, for if the contents are spoilt, and not merely the shell, then what can be done to achieve redemption? My face is burning. A borrowed face, a weak face. I must take off the fetters of my skin, and cleanse its inner side of vice. Take it away, O Emperor. Take it away and give me a new cage. Yeah, so you have a borrowed face, which I was thinking was related to this ritual that they were doing. And it might be, we don't know. But it feels like your body is rejecting that new face.
Experience?
Maybe.
Nothing matters more.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Can I get over there? Or can I just look at this from up here? No. So let's try hopping up here again.
Nothing's impossible for this old officer.
Okay, we can climb down there. Perfect. Judging by the deep scratches, there used to be a makeshift bridge here. If you put something in its place, you can try crossing to the next roof. There's no doubt that this piece of iron is sturdy enough, but it is woefully short for a bridge. What about this one? The rusted sheet of iron could easily reach the other side of the roof, but is unlikely to hold a person's weight. Can I not use both? Maybe I need to go back down there now. That's probably the bridge that did exist. And there's probably some reason I would want to get over there. Yeah, probably that is loot.
Follow my lead.
Oh, or this. Hi, Maeve. Despite the gaps, the metal lattice looks both sturdy and long enough. Okay, let's make the bridge.
An expected
Halt.
result.
I noticed something.
You notice a trap.
A trivial task.
Enjoy your luck while you still draw breath.
Okay. We did not spot that trap. Assault armor, medium armor. Oh, and I took the hit? Of course I did. Character wearing this armor will dodge 30%. Yeah. Whenever the wearer starts their turn with no enemies in a 3-cell radius, they gain 4 movement point and do not provoke attacks of opportunity this turn. Plus 10% armor if the wearer starts their turn with at least 1 enemy within 3-cell radius. What kind of armor do you wear? I guess. Are you wearing heavy? You're wearing medium. What is reactivate? Oh, it's your ability to heal up your pet if it takes too much damage. Got it. You're wearing heavy, I'm sure. Yeah. You're in medium. So it's the same armor. No, I think reactivate is more important.
Sometimes you consult the appropriate...
Speak, Elanta.
Watching the lady
Pascal.
handle sacred technology breaks
Can
my
you
heart.
heal me, please?
Figuratively speaking.
I stand in recognition.
Thank you.
Calculating optimal route.
Victory awaits.
Experience. Nothing matters more.
Alright, some goods here. Big statue. What was it? The glowing blue... something or other? I don't know. Let's look around. Good view of the place. I'm going to say before talking to this guy, because I think he's going to be important. Havris the Sculptor. Since you're in front of something glowing in blue, the sculptor's mechanical hands crawl over the rough stone, their many jointed metal fingers remaining in constant motion. Even now, you recognize your own features in the unfinished piece. It seems someone commissioned a statue of you the moment you set foot on the planet. The old man turns his wrinkled face to you, and you see crystals where his eyes should be. Is my celestial lord here to gaze upon his destiny? Alas, my creation is not yet complete. I'm here to look at the sculpture. What has my destiny got to do with it? When I sculpt, your celestial highness, I see people's destinies in the forms I create. The visions that come to me shape not only the stone, but the person's fate as well. Your image was indistinct when it appeared before me, and my work is not yet done. What do you wish to behold? There is no embellishment in the old man's words. He shares a special bond with his creations, one that you can sense as clearly as any other breath of the warp. Glorious deeds of my future, all that I am accomplishing in the present. This is ludicrous. You do not decide my destiny, nor do I need a monument. Tell me about my future. What can you see? The sculptor's hands scuttle over the stone like huge metal spiders. Somehow, his sightless gaze envisions the exact version of you that you wish to see. Your destinies will soon be complete, my lord. I will have it delivered to your starfaring vessel. Nation gained glory yet to come. Effect duration permanent. Your very life's path has been carved into stone. Images of your future deeds are distracting you from the here and now, but someday those fantasies will become reality. Reduce the character's fellowship until the end of the mission on Thessara. Well, that's not ideal. Although I'm guessing if we had said, tell me about the here and now, we would have still gotten some sort of penalty. We were warned to stay away from the glowing blue. Who are you? Ah, humble creator, the governor's first sculptor, Tavrisk, who has the honor of shaping the destinies of others, but not his own. Tavrisk the sculptor turns his head to you, but you see no pupils in his crystal ocular augmetics. I do not quite understand. Are you a psyker? My Lord Governor calls me a foreteller and creator, others a wicked sorcerer. But there's no cause for concern. My abilities are sanctioned. I am pure before the Emperor's celestial eye. He gestures at the tubes on the back of his head, as if to prove the truth of his words. I don't know that tubes on the back of your head prove that you are sanctioned. I'd like to know more about your sanctioning process. What can you tell me about this material you were working with? This is the Certium, a fascinating stone born from the bowels of this planet. Like any other kind, it bends and melts beneath the sculptor's tool, but for the sculpture to come to life in earnest, they must put their very soul into it. One of his hands emerges from behind the statue and gently touches his head, seemingly of its own volition. The soul, however, obtains calluses the more the sculptor works, and mine has long since become covered in scabs. The blue veins of the statue flare faintly under your gaze. The stone undoubtedly possesses psi-focus properties, allowing the old man to concentrate warp energies in it and amplify them. Your hand augmentics are most impressive. Such implants are impossible to come by on a feudal world. Where are you from? Lord Rualdo had my limbs replaced before he took me from my home planet. It was so long ago, I have since forgotten what my land is like to the touch. I've since forgotten what my land is like to the touch. I don't know. Sculptor's mechanical arms are pierced by sticky tubes, and the elbow joints have all but worn down. It must have been a decade since these implants were last serviced. Such neglect often poses a serious threat to a person's life, and yet the old man's skin looks relatively healthy in the spots where flesh and metal meet. This man appears to belong to a rare variety of psykers, biomancers capable of recovering even from otherwise deadly wounds and diseases. Did you capture the governor's destiny in sculpture too? His mouth stretches into a cryptic smile. I have made thousands of statues for Rualdo, but Thessara's stone flesh can never seem to sate his great ambitions. Thousands of statues. I'm wondering how old Rualdo is. Under the assumption that maybe, given that they have different faces, is it just a line of people who periodically apply a new face and claim they are Rualdo? Or has he actually made thousands of statues in the decades that he's been here? I mean, maybe. The old sculptor once more turns his unseen gaze to the patterns in the stone before him. Alright, so we've got a penalty to our fellowship, which isn't the end of the world. Fellowship's not really a focus of ours.
Something of interest.
Okay, we could fix a lift. Oh, camera angles. That would allow us to get to these goods that I should have been able to get to before. I don't know. I see no reason not to fix the lift.
The machine god grants me insight.
Let's take it down. Grab the goods that we missed down here.
This explorator is blessed with multifunctionality.
Yeah, this is connected down here where we've already been. Hey, Glado. Let's head on back up. Glado can run all the way back around because he's not using the elevator with us. More goods.
Operation successful.
Another medium armor, 30%. Where blocks an attack, all adjacent creatures must pass a toughness resistance test or suffer one stack of perplexed. 10% armor against ranged attacks. Okay.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
Enormous gate is locked fast. Him, the ruler of the stars. Sure. It does not escape your notice that a few leftovers from the plates disappear into the servant's filthy apron. Ha! tables are overflowing with rare and peculiar food. There is enough of it to easily feed dozens of hungry mouths, but the servants are unlikely to get even a morsel of this feast.
A new challenge for me.
Ancient Rosarius pieces. Okay. I just saw a blue necklace like Maeve's. Made me wonder if there's anything of interest there. Okay, that's to do with the Scorched. So that's where... yeah, the trial's happening. Yeah, this is their special stone that they're making statues from. Can I get to these goods before interacting with this? So we've got the Court Fool here. We've got something that Glado can interact with. And then Tadua the Scorched. Nope. We triggered something. I'll be telling my grandchildren of this day. You see a man with a cruel grimace on his face and hands, disfigured with burn marks. Behind him stands a ghastly-looking mechanism, adorned with polished skull of gigantic proportions. The eye sockets, their edges melted, gaze darkly at the crowd with the promise of inevitable punishment. The man, clearly the executioner, bows his head. The very messengers of the sky have come to decide our fate. We are honored, your celestial highness. Who are you? I'm Tadua, the Scorched, the slaughterman of the 5th generation, and a humble disciple of the Iron Saint you see before you, your celestial highness. Master Tadua knows no mercy, and his hand is unfailing firm in the sacred cause of administering justice. Maeve is careful to keep her posture straight, but her frightened gaze is deliberately averted from both the executioner and the mechanism behind him. What is that structure? This instrument of punishment is a personification of the great Phesmophorius the Martyred, who accomplished the legendary feat of slaying 300 heretics. As is glorious tradition, all mutants who affront the Emperor's gaze and stain the face of Thesara must enter the Saint's iron embrace. Whenever justice is served, hundreds flock to the Phesmophorius, eager to witness the magnificent spectacle. You've just confessed that your semblance of justice serves not as a demonstration of lawful authority and deterrence to your subjects, but as entertainment. Solomon utters the last word with disgust, as if there could be no fouler profanity. Who's inside right now? Another heretic who violated the holy laws of Thesara, and since his body is already turning to ash, such will be the fate of his name as well, to be scattered to the winds, that it may never again defile the lips of any who live upon our sacred world. Never again defile the lips. Maeve looks ready to faint. She seems both terrified and nauseated by the sacred rite that has drawn so many onlookers. The laws of the Imperium punishes those who deserve it. Was that the last of the accused for the day? I hope that concludes the incendiary atrocities for today. I missed such a glorious display. Do you have anyone else left to burn, perchance? The law of the Imperium punishes those who deserve it. Was that the last of the accused for the day? And that was what one of the first bodies set to stoke the Phesmophorius. It is going to get a lot busier now. As if to confirm the man's words, the fire-breathing saint expels a puff of acrid smoke. While the guilty are being reduced to ashes, let us meet the next participants in our performance. Okay, very mutant. You can see by their huge arms. 2 people, or something resembling people, are pushed onto the stage. They are mutants, hideous parodies of humanity forever tainted by the imperfections of the flesh. One of them is dressed in stained yet expensive clothes. The other wears the tattered uniform of the local guards. Do they have ways of turning people into mutants? Because you wouldn't expect someone with that horrible of a mutation to grow up to adult age and still be dressed in expensive clothes. Mutants are outcast. So the idea that someone was raised in a noble or highborn family long enough to grow to adult age while having a massive mutation seems very unlikely. Same with a local guard. Your Celestial Highness, behold, two loathsome heretics who blemish the very face of the Tsar with their existence. Padua chuckles, but his sneer is completely devoid of mirth. The degree of their guilt may vary, but they both deserve to enter the blazing bowels of the Phasmophorius for the worst of their transgressions, distorting the sacred face of humanity. But since fate has graced us with such lofty visitors, I eagerly cede the right to punish these miscreants to you, Your Celestial Highness. Contrary to his honeyed words, the executioner's voice betrays his poorly concealed displeasure. Cassia purses her lips when she notices the onlookers staring at her hands, eyes, and neck. Many point their fingers shamelessly in her direction, others spit at their feet in disgust. Her chin raised high, the Lady Navigator adjusts her forehead adornment with her clawed hands. She squares her shoulders, lets out a breath, and glares at the crowd with condescension. Condensation. Condescension. What do you mean by the degree of their guilt may vary? What exactly are these heretics guilty of? Or make an impatient gesture. Get on with the execution, Tadua. My time is precious. What do you mean by the degree of their guilt may vary? Tadua fixes you with a fanatical stare. One of them, despite being one of the highest lords of Thessar, spat on our world's customs by refusing to alter his destiny. The other did change his fate, even though he was just a lowborn wallowing in the mud. What in the Lex's name did I just hear? Solomon raises his voice slightly, indicating that the usually impassive arbitrator is profoundly indignant. I normally have no trouble passing judgment, but in this case, I don't even know where to start. Yeah, so one of them is guilty of not changing his fate, whatever that means. And the other did change his fate, even though he was a lowborn wallowing in the mud. And that makes both of them guilty? Or what was the opulently dressed mutant's crime? Ah, a rotten stain upon the noble families. He was hiding in his manner to conceal his deformities, but had trouble keeping his mouth shut, proliferating filth in tracts that he later sent out with his servants. He declared the choice of one's own fate to be slavery, cast aspersions on the very traditions of this world, was insolent, swore profanely, condemned those who had chosen a new destiny. Luckily, he has no heirs, and today this cursed bloodline shall be put to rest once and for all. So he lived alone and never left, is the claim. That's how he managed to live to that age as a mutant. Still not buying it. The richly garbed mutant moaned something. You notice stitches on his disfigured face. The zealous servants were evidently in a hurry to silence the condemned man early and sewed his twisted mouth shut. What did the mutant in a guard's uniform do? A thief, a brigand, and a murderer. There is no way to list all the crimes lying upon this freak's conscience. However, his willingness to change his destiny against all odds merits this mutant at least some honor. Despite his feeble-mindedness and simplicity, he had enough sense to obscure his countenance with hoods and helmets until he made his way from beggar to guard. It was not long before his excessive passion for fighting and stabbing gave him away. The mutant utters a foul curse under his breath, then immediately gives you a frightened look and falls silent. The mere sight of the Celestial Lord seems to instill a reverent awe in the common denizens of Thessar. You praise the lowborn mutant despite the vicious acts he has committed? They are both mutants and have thereby violated his law. Yet when one finds a spark of nobility in an abject commoner, one cannot help but feel a grain of respect for them. This heretic may be of low birth, but he does not flout the values of Thessar the way the nobleman does, and thus honors our traditions and his will. Born into the rabble, he applied all those abilities and skills, defied the restraints placed upon him, and crushed those who stood in his path, all in order to forge a new destiny for himself. freedom to change destiny? Solomon repeats slowly, with an undertone of utter disbelief at what he is hearing. Even you, a degenerate, should know that everyone has their place in the God Emperor's plan from birth, and that any attempt to change that is a violation of his will. What do you say, Maeve? Which of these two deserves to die? Maeve's gaze darts fearfully around, while visibly avoiding the doomed mutants on the platform. I am of too low a birth to take on the burden of being a judge, my celestial lord. I'm ready to announce my decision, apparently. The word of a distinguished guest is law. We are all trembling with anticipation. Maeve seems to have reined in the emotions that were overtaking her. She casts a timid glance at you as if she awaits your verdict. Execute this mockery of a nobleman. The other mutant is pardoned. The mutant commoner must be sent to the furnace. The nobleman is to be set free. Let them both burn. Let them both go. Yeah. So the rich man has done nothing besides being a mutant and not wanting to follow their traditions of changing his fate. But if their goal is to always just ascend up, at least it sounds like, if he's already a noble, what is his fate supposed to change to? I don't know. But the mutant commoner, who was a murderer, how did he phrase it? Thief, brigand, and murderer. No way to list all the crimes laying at the freak's conscience. I'm willing to say that deserves death, assuming we're being told the truth. The mutant commoner must be sent to the furnace. The nobleman is to be set free. The furnace? The furnace? All those scandalous misdeeds in one heretic will make, oh, such lovely sparks. Behold the starfall. The fool's slimy joke is followed by laughter as the crowd anticipates the coming spectacle. Zhua gives you a dark look, as if reluctantly, and through gritted teeth he forces out the words, His Celestial Highness has spoken. May the flames of Saint Phesmophorius purify you, heretic. Zhua glares at the surviving mutant with loathing. Get out and praise His Celestial Highness for granting you a life you do not deserve. The crowd around you starts jeering, and the mutant scurries away in haste. I would like to unstitch his mouth to find out what he was trying to say. But I think that's not going to happen. Let's see what's going on with this. Cassia peers into the black pits of the Phesmophorius' eyes, and with a strange expression on her face whispers softly, When you give an order like that, do not look away. Keep watching until the end so that you remember the price that was paid, so that you remember the weight of your words. Juliet's voice is weak, but your elucidator still picks up her quiet plea. Isha, give me the strength to look without seeing, to hear without heeding, the triumph of spiritual darkness. Yeah, I'm thinking that burning anyone is generally not going to be considered good by anyone in the party. There's something more going on here. This isn't just a normal execution for crimes of being a murderer and a brigand. And now, my favorite word. Next! A pale, bony creature, barely able to move its legs, enters the stage. In place of a mask, it turns a horrific medley of features towards the world. This ugliness, however, is nothing like that of the previous convicts. The thin, squeamishly twisted mouth is fused to the cheekbones. Malicious eyes peer into the crowd from under hideous folds of skin. The face of this heretic appears to have melted and congealed. What happened to his face? Is he another mutant? Assyrian fever. You need not worry, your celestial highness. It is not contagious. What is this heretic guilty of? The executioner does not answer right away, but makes you wait for a moment. His crime is more grievous than any this scaffold has ever seen. He was granted a new destiny, but chose to defy it. He turned away the greatest gift that can be offered to the loyal sons and daughters of Thisara. The wretched man's gaze drifts over the crowd until his piercing eyes meet yours. His head twitches, his face contorts in a monstrous grimace. Shut up, before it gets in! He whispers in a sudden frenzy. I won't give up, I won't give up, I won't! Oh no, no, no! We didn't come here for you to stay quiet. Squeal now and squeal louder! The crowd takes up the fool's outburst and begins demanding more screams. Where's that blasted court fool? You glance at the crowd and suddenly see the fool, prancing and flitting among the gawkers, clearly trying not to be spotted by you. Shoot bluff for his insolence. Nod to Solomon, it's time to teach this gathering a lesson. I have thought of a better entertainment. Forget the execution. Whoever brings me the fool will receive the honor of kissing the Celestial Lord's signet. You need not hide yourself so carefully. I'm not one to punish a born fool. I'm just gonna let Solomon do his thing. Let's get this city back on track with the Imperial Creed. Solomon, I think, is perfectly placed to do that. It's time to teach this gathering a lesson. Without uttering a word, the arbitrator draws his weapon. A shot rings out, and a deafening shriek rises from the throng of people. You catch sight of the badly wounded fool disappearing into the crowd. So, Bluff the Fool took 17 damage. I feel sorry for Maeve if that's her brother that we're just repeatedly attacking. Maeve cries in horror and immediately claps her mouth with both hands, trying to lock her voice inside. I don't know, execute this one already so we can be done for today, or enough deaths, let him go. We haven't heard of a crime on him. Just that he got a destiny and chose to defy it. Enough deaths, let him go. As Studo opens his mouth to say something, the convict takes a step on his clumsy, spindly legs, and then another one. The face, pretty strong, shining. A gnarled claw points directly at you. Give it here, give it to me, now, instead of the one I bear. Take mine, it's not mine, take it, take it! The madman raises his crooked fingers to his face and sinks his nails into its sagging flesh. Shrieking with what sounds like relief, he tears off a piece of his cheek, then another, and then one more. Falling to his knees, he frantically scratches his own eyes out, smearing blood and clear ichor across his face before collapsing dead on the platform. There was also warpy stuff going on. A sudden rumble draws your attention. Like a rock fall trembling down a slope, the thudding of feet and mad screams overwhelm you. After a moment, you see the source of the commotion. A throng of mutants is charging straight at you. Oh, goodbye, you.
Take a knee and bow before me.
So the question is, why are there so many mutants? Why are there so many mutants in this world? And you guys that are weirdly glowing, what's your deal? So the nobleman we let live has decided to turn on us. Not ideal. Dew of the Scorched is not dead. Are you? I don't know what that symbol on the left means. Maybe that means dead. My guess is he's just injured and unconscious. Alright. Glowing guys, what's your deal? You've got a mutation. This creature's body is covered in blisters and bumps. Its limbs unnaturally transformed. Weapon skill and willpower are increased by 25, but its dodge is reduced by 50. So easy to hit. Thessarian Fever. This creature's flesh sparkles with Thessertium dust, increasing its strength by 25. When this creature dies, the Thesertium transforms its concentrated emotions into warp energy, dealing from 25 to 30 warp damage to all non-mutant targets within a 2-cell radius. Okay, so they're just going to go off like bombs when we kill them. Interesting. Doesn't look like there's any friendlies back there. The mutants have managed to kill everyone past this line. Alright. I guess we'll throw ourselves into cover, such as it is. Half cover up here. You're also a ranged character, I believe. Though with a shotgun, so maybe... I don't know. Put the two of you over there. And then... Abelard. Send you over here to help on that side. Pascal. Probably the same. We'll have ourselves try and take out this side of the group. Alright, so let's go with a front line.
I am a navigator, not a servitor.
Backline on us.
Isn't this a job for the serfs?
Rear on them.
If I may.
Apply some buffs, as usual.
I'm not accustomed to being ordered around. Me? If you insist, Lord Captain.
Nothing I can't do. Already done.
Seems we're not in a position to hit multiple of them with a Melta. We'll go somewhere here, see what that opens up. We can hit two of them there. If I instead moved, say, here. Not quite where I can hit both of you. Seeing how many I can hit. Ideally, I want to hit like 3 of them in a single Melta. Feel pretty good. Not quite. Yeah, I don't know. Feels like 2 is going to be the best I pull off. We'll start with you two.
Let's see how they respond to this.
Oh, right. Exploding. Kind of forgot about that. Now I remember. Let's go back to Cassia's turn. Have her now use this on us.
I'll show you why navigators are feared.
So now I could go here and then melt the 2 of you. Make sure I'm not hitting allies, which seems to be the case.
Nothing I can't do.
Probably still going to have me too close. I'll take the hit. Yep. It happens. If I go back here somewhere, that gets all three of you. High momentum again, always great. Let's use that. Oh, I'm out of movement. Right. Run and gun. Let's see what we can do here. That's looking good.
Not a problem for me.
Perfect. We'll use another rebel and slaughter, why not?
All too easy. Nothing of value has been lost.
Other lines, can I hit? No. Alright, we'll just do some ignites.
Nothing I can't do.
Oh, you didn't die. Shame.
Already done.
Oh, we've gotten a bit too far into the warp stuff.
Nothing I can't do.
Okay, fight's over. Your Celestial Highness, apologies for my late arrival. I wasted a great deal of time in idle squabbles with that oaf of a treasurer as he was looking for the shipment chronicle. I only heard about the attack after it had already begun, and the elevator might as well not have been moving at all. It was so slow. The treasurer, the elevator. Who are you going to blame next, Governor? Are you the ruler of this world or a casual onlooker? You will take measures immediately to restore order, or I will conclude that you are sabotaging the rogue trader's visit, either by intent or simply due to your own ineptness. The governor babbles in fear. I never thought... He takes a deep breath. The culprits, of course. The culprits will face execution post-haste, my celestial lord. Survey the square. An oppressive silence hangs over the previously bustling plaza. The people are taking in the carnage, clearly avoiding looking at you, but still catching your every word. You notice Maeve standing nearby, gazing around her with horror in her eyes. Find those responsible and bring them to me. The condemned mutants broke loose and attacked the townsfolk. It has been a long time since anything like that happened, Your Celestial Highness. They must have sniffed out that today is a special day. The executioner's lip curls, split by a blow during the fight. The commander was responsible for guarding them. He got careless. His armor rattling, one of the knights steps forward. I am Lucra, commander of the fortress. I can attest that the ungodly mutants were restrained properly. It's the Phasmophorious. The smoke whipped the brutes into a frenzy. So it's either the commander or the executioner, is it? Then I shall now make my decision, or strike the governor. If it were not for the tide, you would be the one facing execution. Yeah, I don't think we have enough information. Everyone's pointing fingers at each other, and we don't really know who's at fault. Clearly, weird stuff is happening on this world. And for that, I'm blaming the governor. Like this guy who had his face that wasn't his face. Their talk of Thessian fever, whatever that means. Something weird is going on. Yeah, I'm just going to strike the governor. He's in charge of this place and their odd rituals and cults. I'm going to lay at his feet. If it were not for the tide, you would be the one facing execution. The governor staggers back from the blow, barely managing to stay on his feet. A trickle of blood runs down his lip, and he spits out a few rotten teeth onto the stones. Gross. Thank you, Your Celestial Highness. I will never forget the lesson taught to me by the Emperor's own anointed. So it's either the commander or the executioner, is it? then I shall now make my decision. My celestial lord, I swear on my life that my knights and I did everything we could to keep you safe. Who could have foreseen that the Phasmophorius, after gorging itself on miscreants, would start driving the mutants mad with its smoke? Lies. The Phasmophorius does not taunt heretics, it fills them with terror. To shift the blame for your own failure onto a sacred weapon of justice is a heinous crime in and of itself. Commander's guilty, Solomon carry out the sentence. The executioner is to blame for what has transpired. Solomon enact the will of justice. There's been enough death, I will order no executions. Perhaps your celestial lord would be willing to show mercy if the guilty worms begged at his feet. You know, I've not had my fill of executions for today. It is the Phasmophorius for the both of you. I demand a spectacle. Dude. I mean, definitely the executioner is getting way too into the executions. But is that just because of the beliefs that have been instilled in him in 5 generations of executioners? I don't know. Is this a tool of heresy that creates mutations and he's aware of it, making him guilty? Who knows? We don't have enough details. And I guess the 40k thing would be everyone who's potentially guilty is therefore guilty. But I'm gonna go with the more lenient. There's been enough death, I will order no executions. And hope that we get more information. Because currently we just don't have enough. There's been enough death, I will order no executions. The commander and the executioner stop their bickering and turn their eyes to you in astonishment, then quickly recover, however, and offer you their deepest bows, maintaining a solemn silence. You are our savior today, your celestial highness, and in gratitude, please accept this personalized sword from my treasury. Fatebringer, once decided the outcome of one of our feuds. It killed a rebel leader, and peace has reigned on the planet ever since. 15 to 17 is not amazing, but it's okay. I guess I'd need to compare it to other similar weapons. We don't really have many people that's using two-handed swords, though. There's just Cabela. Despite its ceremonial appearance, the sword is perfectly usable in combat. The blade is polished, and the hilt is encrusted with blue crystals. Willows attached to the sword ignore the target's armor. Ooh. So it just passes through armor? Cool. Accept the gift, thank you. Accept the gift, that's all. Some antiquated sword. I expect subsequent gifts to be better. Return the gift. Solomon, make a note of this attempted bribery. I have no need of your gifts, Rualdo. I mean, could it be seen as bribery? Maybe. But also, we're a rogue trader. People giving us gifts all the time is normal. So, thank you, Rualdo. Governor bows at your feet. Let's look at Maeve. After putting herself in order, Maeve catches your eye and looks away shyly. Her lips bear a poorly concealed smile of relief. It appears your celebration is over, Governor. Not in the least. I will not let some beasts ruin everything we have worked so hard to prepare. I suggest we distance ourselves from this place and return to our corner of revelry and peace. By your leave, I will be waiting for you at the head table. Oh, God, Emperor, give me strength. Swallowing noisily, the governor hurriedly departs the scene of slaughter. That's weird. It amazes me that that idiot just underpaid the tithe and did not somehow lose the whole planet as well. Solomon pauses, pensively watching the governor leave. Fine, a feast it is. I'm sick of the stench of burnt meat. Let's try a change of scenery. Her face pale, Maeve raises a hand. My celestial lord, it is only a few steps away. The noble lords are already lifting their glasses in their savior's honor, awaiting your arrival. Shall we proceed? Let's grab these goods that I was trying to get earlier.
My success is an irrefutable certainty.
What a life to own entire stars. Of course. Cupbearer. Dark maroon amasec is pouring out of the ridiculously gaudy fountain. An eager cupbearer hands you a goblet filled to the brim. Have a taste, if you please, my celestial lord. This vintage has been maturing ever since we laid the cornerstone of our citadel. We tapped it to celebrate you. Do you always have amasec flowing from that fountain? By no means. Such frivolous excess would impede us in carrying out our burden of service to the Emperor. It is only on truly great days, such as today, that the fountain pours forth this noble beverage. Besides, even the sturdiest of servants could not work the pump for days on end. The pump? Naturally, my celestial lord, it requires a grueling labor of dozens of sturdy workers to create an upward movement of the liquid in the pipes. It is a most useful contraption. Drink, thank you. Drink, I'm ready to celebrate my glorious self. Drink, your enjoyments and entertainment are impossible to watch in a sober state. Or step away. I prefer to keep my mind clear. We're gonna go with that. I dare not protest. Should you change your mind, I am always at your service. Alright, Plato. Grab that box for me. Thank you. Radiant Shield. Whenever the wielder blocks an attack, the attacker must pass an agility resistance test to become blinded for 1 round. Eight strength bonus plus toughness bonus. Okay, so that's if we used it to shield bash, right? So I could give Abelard a shield. Anyone else using a one-handed weapon? Okay, you've got a shield. How does this compare? You lose the +1 deflection, but it gives the blinding. Yeah, I'll give it to you. Feudal swords, probably not. Hardened shield, probably not. So a bunch of knights up here blocking the way.
None shall stand in my way.
I'm sure we're going to run into that fool again, since we didn't kill him. Yeah, the fact that we have this AMSEC fountain, it's just built into this glowing crystal. Yeah, probably don't want to drink that. Oh, we have more goods here. Right, the lice falling in the meal, gross. Veritable mountain of leftovers under the table. The guests have been tossing scraps onto the floor without thought. Sure.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Okay, so yeah, this is where the governor is. His cybernetic pet. Not number 4. Okay, I think we've already looked all around here. What are you barking at, Glado? Have I missed anything? Sculptor, governor. There is loot over here that we have missed.
It's about time.
Alright. However, I think this is a good place to stop the stream. I doubt we're going to finish this whole planet anytime soon. So before we figure out what horrible things are going to happen at this feast, because that seems to be what happens everywhere we go, let's pause here. Next time we'll pick up, find out, talk to the governor, find out what's going on here, and how many more laws that are being broken, and how incompetent this governor is. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.